name is Zephyr Arland, and I'm doing something stupid. My family? We've got a secret, and I've never been allowed to attend normal school before now because of it. Mom and Dad say high school can be a bit of a culture shock, but how bad can it really be? After all, getting up to speed is something I do best. I know they're worried, but I can be careful. Only time will tell if this is the worst idea ever.
Oh, sparks and bolts!
Or the very best idea ever. I can't help but wonder, though, can I be something more? I guess we can give this a tryout.
What's up, everybody? I know at the beginning of this video, for whatever reason, it played the stream from yesterday. Hopefully you checked that out. By the way, it was on my channel where I got to talk with Irene Strakowski about her Project Fiendish, so we still had that trailer queued up. But yes, tonight we are going to be closing down two projects. One's a campaign, one's a collection. We have everything got pinned, comment section. I'm sure mods will be dropping some stuff. We also have the description. We'll have more information about the projects. One's on Rippaverse.com, the other's on RippaSend.com. And that is, of course, you just watch those trailers on the RippaSend side, waiting for Nerdrotic. It's memoir from prison to YouTube. As well on the RippaZine, on the Rippaverse side, we have RippaZine issue number 5, which is going to be closing down tonight at 11 p.m. as well. Of course, that's written by the man right here who is joined, or rather joining me tonight. It's Andrew Rodriguez, man. What's going on?
It's going pretty great, man. I am thrilled to be here. This is fun because the last couple of streams on this this channel, I've had to pretend to be you, which
Yeah.
I can imitate you fairly well. The beard just isn't quite as long. Everything else is basically the same.
Yeah, everything's the same. Yeah. I respect it.
But I'm happy to be here, man. Like closing out two fantastic projects. Obviously, like you said, Gary's book, super inspirational tale. Not all roads to stardom are, necessarily the straight and narrow or easy and without bumps. And Gary tells it to people pretty straight that his road to where he's at now is anything but.
Yes, excellent read. Everybody that has already screened it loves it. That is over 3,500 books sold, by the way. We hit that marker, so thank you all so much for the support over there. So be sure to go grab that. And obviously on the Rippaverse side, we have the RippaZine. I just want to go through these just really quick, if you don't mind.
Not
some
at
of
all.
these projects. Let's start on Nerdrotic side. Shout out to everybody. We know F&T is live right now, but it's a hardcover as a soft cover as well that you are able to take advantage of. We have hats. We have both shirts, which came out lovely. I saw the prototypes there as well. Of course, we have bundles if you want to save some money. So be sure to grab that. Of course, though, we're getting them printed and everything, we will still have these up for sale, except the signed copy. As far as we're concerned, that's going to be it. So if you want to get a signed copy with a certificate of authenticity, make sure you go pre-order it right now from RippaSend.com and go grab this book. Like to what Andrew said, you get the behind the scenes, a lot of stuff obviously he gets to talk about on the stream, but you really get the inside perspective really on his life, which is nothing short but miraculous that he is where he's at right now. It's awesome, actually. So go check that out, get some more information on that, as well as far as the campaign story. It'll tell you some more information about the book. If you want to go grab that. Of course, on the Rippaverse side, we have RippaZine issue number 5, which is closing down tonight as well. Of course, it has the short story Blue Shift Tryouts, which, again, written by our man's right here, Andrew Rodriguez, R from Souza. Another Andrew actually colored it, and Andrew Kramer. So big shout out to him. So you got two
and another
Andrews.
Andrew colored the poster.
Yeah, and another Andrew. Yeah, another dollhouse. Yeah, so there's a lot of Andrews involved in
This
this.
is the 18 project, guys.
Yeah,
Like,
there's a lot of Andrews involved in this project. But of course, we have both books available to you right now. We always have the main copy, which you can reserve with your membership if that's something that you want to do, for you guys that are members over at Rippaverse.com. And of course, we have the collector's edition that's available for you as well. Signed copy, signed by the man himself. We got a couple of good shirts there. We also have, of course, this poster, which turned out insane, like Kane White and Andrew Dollhouse. Of course, we got some ways to save money. You want to get caught up on some of the previous RippaZines that we still have up for sale, be sure to go grab those as well. And yeah, lots and lots of enthusiasm surrounding this project, type of character that I know a lot of people that had asked for. And like I said, we got the man himself. I want to give him an opportunity to kind of talk about everything, how the campaign's gone. I mean, again, these RippaZines continue to do extremely well, with this being over 2,600 books already. But obviously, this is you kind of dabbing in finally, or diving in to, you know, you've been part of our, you know, as a creative manager, obviously very tapped into everything that we do creatively here at the Rippaverse, helping edit as well, proofread, but also you are here now actually writing your own story. And I know that's a different kind of, maybe you can even speak to that. You know, you sit in a different seat there, but with this being your first project, man, I love you give the audience your insight, how things, how you're feeling, and obviously the feedback that you've got personally from the people that are excited about the story.
yeah, man, it's been nothing short of humbling, because to your point, like I've been mostly in the background in terms of what my main job is, but working with the creatives on a day-to-day basis. However, now, like, actually having my hands in a story directly, being the creator and writer of this one, the response from the fans has been nothing short of humbling. I'm not some, you know, veteran writer. I'm not Chuck Dixon or Mike
Yeah.
Barron. I'm also not Eric July, who has 3 massive books that he's already kicked ass on. You know, like I'm not the Saska sisters who, you know, were writing for the mainstream and have all these movies under their belts. And I'm not Caro as well, who is also a published author. Right.
Yeah.
So this is literally like I'm as green as it gets here. And so our fans are incredible, man. Like how well they have received me. Hopefully they feel the same way after they read it. Otherwise, like they'll probably just quickly tell me to go back to writing pigeons and stick with that.
I think
Hopefully
they're gonna
that's
love
not
it.
the case.
I think they're gonna
don't
love
think
it.
it will be, but we'll
Yeah.
see. But how receptive they've been has been absolutely incredible and humbling. And I'm so blessed to be here. I'm so happy to be here, and having the chance to be the one to kind of bring this type of character specifically to the fans. Because I remember mentioning to you when we had that pitch meeting, I remember you being kind of surprised because I pulled up a spreadsheet basically that was
Yeah, it was
all these
awesome.
like screenshots and stuff of like exactly what the fans were looking for. And it's like,
Yeah.
hey, so the fans are looking for this.
Supportive.
This is
Yeah.
literally what I'm trying to do. And so that's one of the benefits of being an independent, autonomous company too, is we get to be able to pivot like that and be a little more reactive, and at least
Absolutely.
a little quicker, right out the gate when it comes to being able to give the fans what they want. You know, it's not going to happen in 5 minutes, but we can react
Yeah.
because we're a lot more, you know, nimble than say a giant mega corporation. So when we see the fans are demanding something, we can say, well, screw it. Like, let's just freaking do it. Like, and we'll just, you know, get going on it. It's like we go back to the Ice on One campaign, right? When everybody was demanding a Yaira shirt, and you're like, Andrew, can you get Igor to draw a Yaira
Yeah.
shirt? I'm like, yeah,
Yeah.
you know, and like that week we had a Yaira shirt, right? Like that's the beauty of independence and not being beholden to like, oh, well, we got to go through all these channels to get it approved and
Yeah.
all that. No, let's freaking do it.
Yeah. And that's I love that, because you know you're totally correct in that. You know, you brought a lot of supportive, you know, material of the fans themselves and clamoring for this type of character, right? And I can't wait for them to learn more about Zephyr, obviously, and you know we'll see how they feel about it. It'll obviously help determine kind of what direction we go with it in the future. I believe, and I'm very confident in that they're going to love it. I believe they're going to love the story. They're going to be stoked on it, and they're going to want to get in on more. But yeah, you were really, obviously, with you being a creative manager and helping run the social media as well, you have a direct line of sight with the audience. You're often interacting with them again because you're running social media. So, you came to me with all this information, almost like data. Hey, this is the type of character that people like. It's not just we're pulling this out of Andrew's head, right? Like,
Yeah.
well, yeah, obviously it's his
not
story
just like I like speedsters, so I'm gonna make a speedster character and say that's a good enough reason. Like I'm not Chuck Dixon, so I can't just be I can't pull a Chuck Dixon, just be like, Eric, I think we should do this. And if you're smart, which Eric is, you say, yeah,
cool.
Okay.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Absolutely.
I have to, present data. We want to make data-based decisions because it's got to actually make sense.
Yeah. And again, a lot of people were asking about it. We saw that and it was like, all right, let's give it a shot. We'll see what happens. And it does look like, again, with all over 2,600 books sold, it really does highlight just how high of a demand that this type of character was. And like I said, you're going to learn a lot about Zephyr. Obviously, we got the previews and everything in there as well. But, a lot of you get this for the short stories because, well, a lot of the first appearances of the characters that are in the Rippaverse are, some of those are going to come from the RippaZines, right? So it's a book worth grabbing, whether you, if you are one of those that want to keep up with these stories, but it also obviously low buy-in for it, right? Where you can get it for just what is it, $8, or what have you, and
or free if you're a member.
Or free, yeah. If you're a member, you don't have to pay anything, you know what I mean, outside of that. Just go redeem it. So it's really cool to see some of these new characters be embraced, and I cannot wait for you guys to actually read the story and give us your thoughts, reviews, and what have you, because I'm really, really excited on that. I know we also got, speaking of like kind of first appearances and stuff, I wanted to acknowledge, because we haven't talked about this yet, Saints and Sinners has started really landing in the hands of the readers. Okay. And yeah, some of the initial feedback that we're getting, I mean, it's interesting. Shout out as one of the writers, versus Babyface, him as. It's interesting. Obviously, it's early on. So as a lot of people, like, well, it's over 13,000. How many people bought it initially? That's not even including post-campaign, post-collection sales. It's going to be interesting to see kind of where we go with that, because that's our first anthology. And everybody's telling their stories. A lot of new characters got introduced. Lots of twists, turns with some of that as well. So it's going to be very intriguing to see where people land with that story. We've even seen some tickets come in about people not even wanting anything. They're just like, hey, I just wanted to let you know how I felt about this story, and here it is. So it's been interesting to see that this morning. But that's cool. I love that. This world has expanded well beyond ISOM, though it's always funny to talk to some people that, for whatever reason, think that like ISOM's the only damn book that we've put out still. And look,
and they're living in 2022.
I know, right? You're still living there. And I understand that not everybody is going to be like close in terms of the proximity with the Rippaverse and keeping up with everything. But it's been interesting to see those that are still stuck there thinking that, well, that's the only thing that we have. And now we are in this position of where pretty much with any new book that we put out, it's going to be centered around, maybe some of them will be considered more so focused on a character, but there's new characters being introduced in pretty much every story that we put out, whether it be ISOM, whether it be, doesn't matter, Yaira, because again, we're so early on in this universe in the first place. So it's been really awesome, cool. Like, even from my perspective, just watch this from afar. Though obviously really tapped in, but understanding that, look, man, there's going to be more characters that I didn't create than there are characters that I did, and that's how it was supposed to be, right? That was the whole point of starting the universe. That was the whole point of bringing in all these different writers, whether you be the Chucks and the Saskas and Mikes, obviously Andrew, we got Caro, and all of those that were involved in the anthology with the Saints and Sinners and all of their stories. Like, it's cool to see that grow, and though it may have started here, you know, that trio that is those branches are starting to go kind of everywhere, and it's getting to a point to where people can kind of keep up with whatever they want, however they want, and that's awesome. Shout out to Zay Comics in the chat. I see you, homie. Also see some of the other, like Rippaverse, remember, see the Saskas in the chat, as well as Marcos, who is the colorist. But yeah, man, it's been really awesome to see, man. I did want to ask you, just because again we're talking about like kind of RippaZine stuff.
Yeah.
You know, how experience wise, I know we've talked about this a little bit before. I know Carol's been very supportive kind of with this being your first project, but specifically what's unique to you is that, you know, you being involved as a creative manager as well as social media manager, you know, you're sitting in a completely different like role, and it is different though. So how has that been? And maybe you can speak to the differentiation in, hey, Andrew, the creative manager, versus Andrew, the writer.
Yeah. So it's weird. It's daunting because on the one hand, you know, being involved and pretty closely involved, I would say, with the zine since day one, like
Absolutely, since day
the
one.
first one,
Absolutely.
right?
Yeah.
You know, I've become pretty accustomed to how the process works on the inside when that stuff's concerned, you know, organizing the stuff and all of that. But adding in the story aspect of it. Now it's not like, okay, let's just make sure, you know, we're checking boxes for stories to get, you know, completed on time and things like that and get put into the zine itself, making sure things get built out with the right page count and all that. No, it's like, all right, I need to now put myself in a mindset that's not just the logistics of it. I need to have myself in a mindset of, it's like, okay, now it's the onus is now on me. The responsibility is on me to do my best to tell a story that, just like the Saskas did with Catch and Kill, like Caro did with Dirty Deeds, like you did with Search and Salvage, like tell a story that is within a very limited page count and tell it in such a way that gets people hungry for more so that they can get excited for a growing universe. And going back to what we talked about a little bit earlier, where I do have that benefit of having such a direct line of sight with the audience and kind of seeing and feeling out what they're looking for and trying to be able to apply that. That's a tricky thing as a creative. And I'm learning that very early on, where you want to give your audience what they want or what they need, but you also still want to tell your story.
Yeah.
Right. So there's a
And you don't want
balance
it to be
there.
predictable, obviously, as well, right?
Exactly. Yeah. You want to find a balance there. And that's a tricky thing to do.
It is. I agree.
Because if you don't give the audience at least what they need or what they want, they're not necessarily going to be particularly thrilled with the project, right? Nobody
Right.
with their head screwed on right is buying something that they don't like, right? That they're
Right.
not enjoying, right? If I wasn't enjoying whatever book, I'm not going to keep buying that book, right? You have to keep that mentality. At the same time, you want to still tell the story you're trying to tell, but that's the beauty of independence, where you can kind of like pivot a little bit here and there where necessary. And I think that's though indies can do it far more easily, I think that's something that other publishers, larger publishers, should do a little bit more as well, where it's like, okay, so this is the feedback we're getting. Let's, you know, pivot a little bit here in this direction so that we're giving them more of what they want. That way they give us more of what we want, which is,
Yeah.
as a for-profit enterprise, more money. Right.
Absolutely.
And I want to entertain people. And so I want to give them something that entertains them and makes them happy. The entire point of this type of character is for him to be a hero with a heart of gold. It's supposed to be feel good stories. That doesn't mean you can't tell some darker stories with that or some more heavy stories with that. But at the end of the day, we already have a lot of characters, fantastic characters, whether it's Isom, Sydney, Yaira, whoever, that we have like these heavy, darker stories or
Right.
very morally complex stories. Like, I don't need to do that. Like, I don't need to tell like a street level violent beat 'em up story because Chuck's already doing that.
Right.
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 That's why people are buying Horsemen.
Right. Yeah, it is interesting. It is. I like how you bring that up about the like the balance of telling that story and also serving well, what you're trying to do, it's not just about serving, because I mean, obviously everything that we do, we're not writing for ourselves necessarily. Not
Mhm.
at all, actually. I mean, this is, to your point, for profit enterprise. So we're trying to, we have to please our customers.
Yeah,
But it
otherwise they're
is,
not gonna stick around.
yeah. Otherwise, none of this. What are we doing? Because it's not simply for ourselves. So what is a challenge, and I think for really any of us, any writer for that matter, to do definitely in real time, to balance. Okay, I have taken that feedback from my buyers, from my customers. Now I want to actually implement that in some capacity
Mhm.
with my story, or with the character that may or may not already exist. And that's what becomes a little more difficult, because yeah, you can hear that, but the implementation of it, so that it does not come off as predictable
Mhm.
or comes off as like forced, is that tricky balance. So you're constantly getting that natural feedback organically through comments, through engagements, through interactions with these customers, and then you're faced with, okay, well, this is what they like, or they don't like, or they want more of, or they want less of, or whatever. And I have this story kicking around in my mind. How do I take the aspects of what people have made it really clear that they want, and then squeeze that, and somehow it's being represented in the story that I'm trying to tell? That can be rather, that's a challenge. It is a challenge to do. I think that um you never stop doing that, obviously, at least if you're not us. I mean, there's no egos here. Again, we
Yeah.
can't afford that. We can't afford to just, hey, you got a story, and we're just going to tell it. No, it needs to have purpose. It needs to have, not just fitting in our universe and moving the stories along, or moving the universe along, but somebody has to want, there has to be a demand, at least
Mhm.
for that. It doesn't mean that you have to be predictable. In fact, I'd argue that you shouldn't be. But that's that constant balance that I think all of us are really facing with these stories, and especially with you see that feedback more than pretty much everybody. Namely because, again, you're tapped in on the social media side, even seeing some of the survey side stuff of the things that we see in email, especially with
Mhm.
the RippaZines. And it's something that I welcome, obviously, but I don't want to diminish everybody's hard work, whether it be with yourself and being a a newer writer here with us, but even for a Chuck, even for a Joe, who's, again, that's a collaborative effort with the characters that they've created, like Zaylen,
Mhm.
or whether it be with the Saskas and a story that they're trying to tell with Bloodruth, and Yaira, and what have you. You're trying to digest that information, while also telling stories that are, some of these are ongoing as well. Yeah, man, that's not an easy thing to do, but it is fun.
Yeah.
Um, it is fun, and I want to make sure that people know how difficult that, even though as difficult as they may be, it's a challenge that I think everybody here at the Rippaverse embraces very well, very well. And I think that's because everybody set their ego aside and understands that, look, man, it's about the customers, not about, hey, I just want to be at the forefront and want to put out a story. That's not what this is about. It's about, well, yeah, we love comics. We have fun. It may be therapeutic for us. It may be something that we love to do, something that we always sought to do, dreamed of doing, and now we're in this position. But ultimately, if it's just self-surfacing, that doesn't mean that the audience is going to feel that. So
No.
that balance is key, and I think you've done it well with taking that information, and as you presented it to me even earlier on, like, hey, these are the ideas I have. And obviously later we talked about how this gets packaged in like a RippaZine,
Mhm.
and then what ideas that we're going to have in the event that this is going to continue on. It's or we're gonna further expand on it. It has been awesome to see in real time. This is what the audience is saying. And though, yes, we don't want to be predictable, this is our version of servicing that customer that wants this. And to your part, that was like, or to your point, with Zephyr and having that type of hero again, for a little more feel good, not as rough like a Isom or a Yaira are. And I think it just worked extremely well. And it's really, again, like I said, something like that in very, very high demand. So it's awesome. It is awesome to see. And I mean, big ups to you in the fact that, you know, you've done a phenomenal job in, again,
for the opportunity
this.
for it.
No, most
it's
definitely.
It's not every day, you know, especially now, like a lot of times, even if they're newer writers to comics, like the big two or Image or whatnot, like they're pulling people who are writing, you know, other stuff anyway, right? So they're maybe they were writing, I don't know, YA novels or something like that. That's pretty common. Or whatever other industry, right? Like people that already have like some sort of a body of work. It's not common these days for people who are genuinely green to get an opportunity to do this. And, you know, that's the same with like Saints and Sinners, right? We got brand new writers on there. Obviously, you know, Critical Drinker's been writing for a while. Like he already has a big body of work. And, you know, Jay has a couple of projects as well. But not everybody else did. Right. And so having the opportunity that we do here at the Rippaverse, to be able to have somebody like me, if I am able to present an idea worth, you know, entertaining, because that's got to be part of it too, right? Still got, if I had come to you with like just kind of a half-baked crap idea, you would have been like, all right, man, like stick with editing. We good. Like, right. Like, you know, so you still have to put in the work. You still have to do something, have an idea worth pursuing.
Absolutely.
But that being said, we have a wonderful thing going on here to where somebody like me, who is a nobody, can give it a shot.
Well, look, that's an important thing. You know, this was not simply about being some place where people just like, we take this serious, is I guess the point that I'm trying to, before I make this point, I want people to understand, and that this was never going to be a company that simply relied on people that have been maybe around the industry forever. Like, yes, we have the Soskas, yes, we have Chuck, that are doing phenomenal stories for us, and they've been around the block. But just as other publishers have, we also need to be fostering new talent. We have obviously a great, you know, mentorship kind of here with the talented creators that we have, but I think that that's actually very vital. It's very key to what we've done or what we're trying to do. And in, you know, building this universe and building this company, there should be, when we are, you know, 10 years down the line, that some people associate that writer, right, with obviously what they did and their accomplishments in the Rippaverse. And maybe that was their first big gig. There's nothing wrong with that. I mean, we've had the opportunity to work with, like, Michael Montanet is like probably one of the prime examples of that, right? He's a guy that came in, had an opportunity with a fan art contest, ended up being put on the work. There's a lot of pressure there, right? Put on work of one of our favorite characters initially. Like, when people saw Blood Ruth, people were like, I want more of her. And not only did he deliver, it's a lot of people's like favorite art that they've seen of ours, and the uniqueness. Like,
it's the only book that has a black and white version.
Exactly. And it's been, that's cool to see, where, yeah, he's done some stuff professionally, not to say that, but, you know, he's said it, you know, and others obviously know that, you know, this is, you know, one of the bigger gigs that he's had. So that's awesome. And I think that is really going to be a big determinant of how successful that we are. Is, yes, we're going to have the talent that has been here. We're going to have your veterans, but are you also being able to foster an atmosphere, an environment that can also bring up new, fresh talent? young
That's how you
talent.
have staying power and
Right.
longevity, right? Like no
Exactly.
sports team just has their one starting team that was a championship team last year, and that's who they run forever and always. It
Right.
doesn't work that way. Eventually, those guys age out, right?
Mhm.
Because they can't do it anymore. Doesn't matter if they were the best of the best of the best in their particular position in their particular sport. Eventually, they have to retire. And if
Absolutely.
those you see it all the time, teams who don't put in the work to building up and fostering that, whether it's the secondary or whether it's the people on the bench. It's like maybe you don't play for the first couple of years that you're a part of that team, right? You're at training camp, you're at practice, but like you still haven't started, you still haven't hit the field like at game time. Eventually, that time will come around for those people just by way of the natural order of things, with people eventually being like, all right, I've written all I can write. I am I am retiring. I'm going to sail off into the sunset. Well, who does that leave you with if all you had were that tier and that generation of writer? If you don't have anybody else, well, now you don't have anybody.
Right, right. That makes sense. That makes sense. And yeah, it is going to really, I mean, it does speak to your longevity and your staying powers if you're going to be able to do that. And I love the opportunities that these guys are getting. Seeing some crazy young artists. Even if you look at like the collector's edition, very young talent.
Mhm.
Right. That ended up doing the line art for that. And I love that. I love that that's where we're at. I love collaborating with other people and obviously being able to even learn from myself, being able to learn from people like a Chuck Dixon is important. It's
That's
it's
invaluable.
necessary, it's valuable as all get out. Just need that nice mix. And I think that's why the Rippaverse works the way that it does, is that it has that mix of fresh talent and not just people that have been around the block, or not exclusively people that just got things going. Right. It's a
Mhm.
mix, nice little healthy mix of both. And that's what it's about. We have John with a 10 says nothing, just dropping a super sticker. Multiverse with a five, what is six, basically euros, says 3 keys to success: recognition, Barry Allen's best flash, Zephyr eating pineapples on pizza, and Andrew releasing the Andrew sketch plus the spreadsheet.
Man, like I'm gonna have to like tell Brandon to cancel your order, man.
Appreciate that. Thank you so much. We have Jay with a 20. I appreciate that. Thank you so much. We have Dr. Hibbett said superhero name Zephyr or Blue Shift. Well, Blue Shift is the name of the actual story that you will be reading in the RippaZine. Zephyr is obviously the name of the character there. And if you want more information on any of that, you should just pick up the RippaZine. Don't ask me. Go read it for yourself. Larry Parker with a 5 says read Saints and Sinners on my off period today, and every story left me wanting so much more. Keep at it, y'all. Andrew, I know the ship is going to be great. Awesome. Appreciate that. Thank you so much for that, Larry Parker, and I do appreciate it. All right, like I said, RippaZine number 5 right now. You can go grab this, get the collector's edition, get caught up on some of the other work. You can grab the I Want It All, which gives you the signed copies of both covers, the shirt and the poster. Be sure to grab that. And of course, we have on the RippaSend side, and that's waiting for Nerdrotic, which is almost at 175,000. We'll see if
Oh,
this thing gets to 200 grand by the end of the night.
it
That
might.
would be it. It just might do it. That would be insane. We are already over 35. Do we have graphics for 3,500 books sold?
I
I don't
think
know.
we do.
We
I'm
do.
pretty sure we do.
Okay, so we
I can
got
double check that right now, but I think we do.
3,500 books sold, which ain't nothing to sneeze at from our man's Gary. Thank you for supporting his project, and I am obviously, it was awesome that he wanted to work with us to get this out as well. This is something that we take very serious here at RippaSend. Obviously, I'm buddies with some of the guys that we have published, though we haven't exclusively done that. Just people that have kind of you've seen me on stream with, though pretty much everybody on RippaSend, you will eventually. I will stream with them But obviously, being Gary go back, being obviously Jay, and just because we're cool does not mean that I get to slack off. It does not mean that we get to say, or they get to just drop this off with us and we're just kind of gonna ride off. No, that's not how any of this stuff works. We take it serious. We want this thing to be a smooth process for them, and we work extremely hard to maximize these collections and campaigns, and that's a responsibility that we take. Again, I cannot stress that enough. That we take very, 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 very seriously, man. So I'm blessed. We are here at the Rippaverse and the RippaSend. It's cool to see this wing of our company continue to grow. And remember, RippaSend projects, those are not Rippaverse projects. These are creator-owned projects. So when you see us publishing something, whether it be Gabriel and the Guardians, whether it's anything else, Yellow Flash's book, whether it's Jay's book, an Achromatic Chronicle series, whether it's this, whether it's the upcoming Shadow Century and some of the other things, well, it's going to take, it's all theirs. That's all their stuff. We're just here to help send it over the finish line. And speaking of awesome creators, by the way, we are joined by my man's Heel versus Babyface as
hi.
writer.
I am. This is the most flying of flying visits.
Yeah,
because I've got to record something right now. But I
thought
I would quickly pop into the good audience who were seem to be getting their copies of Saints and Sinners.
We were talking about this earlier. Let's go.
Which my writer's bundle arrived today. There's my cover. There's the hardback. Ooh, baby. We got the concept art book. Ooh, what's hidden inside there? We got Drinker's cover.
Let's go.
Going on there. We got I got a big packet of goodies here.
Yeah. Make sure we laced you up, man.
So many of the greatest covers sold. We got the anthology cover right there. Yeah. We got Drunk 3POs.
Let's go.
I don't know what that is. And then we got Morley's Bone God.
Let's go.
And I got mine today. I've had a busy day today, but I've managed to smash through 4 of the stories already. Which of course was mine because I'm first up. And then I went through that. I went through Drunk 3POs. I went through yours, Eric, and I went through Bone God. So I still got the Soskers and Will to go, aka Critical Drinker, and it's a good book.
Yeah, man.
Because this is the first time I'm getting to read the other people's stories. So, guys, if you didn't manage to get a copy, is it only E that's left?
I would have to see. I'm not sure, but I know all of the covers aren't available. But it may just be that everything's sold out, and that's why you got to get in during those campaigns, man. Those collections, you might miss out. So. Got the concept art, all the goodies that are associated with it. It's awesome to see that stuff's starting to arrive for you all. We appreciate your continued support.
There's concept art, and then there's concept art.
Oh snap! We're seeing the ad sketch.
It's gonna happen. The ad sketch is. I told you once it releases, once it starts dropping and people have read the story, the ad sketches are coming out. It was a deal.
Let's go.
We made a deal. We smashed some big numbers on that closeout stream on the channel. So I promised if we hit 13,000 books, I think it was like 11,000. But then the sketches are coming out. So who knows? Rip and the Silverback Spesh, maybe reveal a little bit of that. If you've got your books and you've read your stories, let us know. Let us know on social. Who did you like? What did you like? You make Eric know. He's the boss. He's the guy. He's the one that makes the calls. Harass him. Harass him like a Redditor on Twitter. You know.
Hit me up. Tag me. All social media. I will say early on, it has been awesome seeing people, because again, to your point, you're the first story, right? Your story is the first story. Some of the early feedback is that people love it, and they also can't believe that it's your first time.
True story.
Writing a comic in this capacity. So yeah, man, it's cool to see. Appreciate your hard work on it, and yeah, it's awesome that now it's starting to arrive in the hands of the customers, and they're giving us feedback, man. Because like I said early on, a lot of people are like, dude, let us know. Oh yeah, look at that hardcover. So yeah, man, let us know how you feel about all those stories.
Best-selling cover. Best-selling cover. That's me, but that's my boy.
You own that accolade, okay? Own that.
Yeah. To the day I die, taking that to the grave with me.
We'll be sure to send out, I think, probably a survey for Saints.
I've retired
as well,
I've retired already.
He's done. He's going out on top. He's going out on top.
I'm going out. I'm walking. I'm taking the belt with me.
Going out where I started, on top. Never to be changed. But I'm running because I'm actually going to make more content, because I've got to do my next part of Days Gone for my gaming channel.
Let's go.
So people are waiting for part 5 of Days Gone. I'm literally recording it now. Then it's going to be rendered and uploaded before I go to bed, and it's nearly 1 o'clock in the morning, because that's what I do for these people.
Let's go. Well,
and when I say these people, I mean.
It's so silly, man. Yes, go get Saints and Sinners. We appreciate y'all support for that. Let us know how you feel about those stories. Each one, what's your favorite? What were you fond of? We want to make sure that we're gauging that interest. And to Andrew's point, we are going to be sending out surveys, much like we do with RippaZine.
That makes sense, since they're all short stories.
Yeah, they're all short stories. We want to make sure we know kind of how you feel about things, and that'll again determine where the things go. So be sure to tag us in social media, your reviews. You never know, it may end up even in one of our videos, and we really just value that feedback, because again, we want to know what you like. That's the most important thing, what you like, and we want to make sure that we're doing more of that. That's what it's about. Here at the Rippaverse, you guys, that's why we do it. That's why we do it. All right. We have Larry with a 5 says red Saints. Oh, I read that. Thank you. Good to see you as always, Larry, man. Much love. Or did I read it? He said it. Yeah. We were reading this when we were talking right before Ass came in. So I think you're gonna love it. I agree. We also have Kate Taylor with a 20 says, I love Saints and Sinners, but need more. Keep it the great work. Appreciate that. Thank you so much. I'm glad you enjoyed it. Again, don't hesitate to share with your friends, your comments, your thoughts. Let us know how you feel about everything, because that is going to determine the direction that we go. As far as some of these stories that we love to tell, and the writers will love to tell. 20 ain't cheap, by the way. Thank you so much for that, Kate Taylor. Big shout out to you. We got Jake with a 5 says Dirty Deeds. One more Dirty Deeds. Okay, I'm game for that.
More Dirty Deeds in chat, people.
Yeah, okay. That's something that I absolutely respect. Appreciate that so much. And yeah, so we have what else? We have let me see. Matter of fact, so just real quick, I'm going to play this because I didn't get a chance to play this. Do I have the actual, let me see. Where is okay, I do. All right. We did drop something not too long ago. We haven't talked much about it. This was what was supposed to play at the beginning. So I'm going to have y'all watch this. Bloodruth #2 trailer.
I am the last Bloodruth left standing. Tragedy at the hands of an impossible nemesis tore my family apart. I lost all of them. But I won't let a small obstacle like death stand in the way of me trying to save them. I know such magic is forbidden. I know there will be consequences. But I have to try. Charity Bloodruth knows the most powerful of blood magics. She and my grandfather Jebediah have been forced to live a reclusive life due to my grandparents bending the rules themselves. They will understand that I would never abandon my brothers or my mother. Mother and Abel are beyond my reach. But I must save Casey, no matter what the cost, before it's too late. It's time for a little family reunion.
So yes, Bloodruth #2 is live right now. Oh wow, closing in on that 90,000 total sales there. Second
That's gonna hit
installment,
100K soon.
yeah. Second installment of this series by the Saskas, as well as Michael Montana, as well as our man's Brett Smith. And yeah, this is obviously a lovely book, and we had to end it on Halloween, so that's going to be a nice spooky day. We have the black and white edition again, back by popular demand. You will be able to grab that as well as the 4 other base covers. We have some posters. We have again a shirt, of course, like we do with every collection. We have bundles. So take advantage of that.
Get caught up if you didn't read Bloodruth 1 yet.
Yes, get the catch-up packs that we have available for you. Go grab those. Of course, we got the Bloodruth plushie in there that you can grab. So just go grab all the stuff. Just go grab all of the Bloodruth stuff. Glad we got this off the ground. And like I said, on 31st, it will be shipping to you all. Well, it won't be shipping to y'all. We'll be ending it on the 31st of October. So yes, go grab those. We appreciate that. We appreciate all the love for Bloodruth. This has become a fan favorite. So thank you.
Shout out to Chloe for the voice.
Oh yeah,
acting.
big shout out to Chloe. As always, she's an amazing talent. We'll get some content surrounding her, maybe on the channel. But yeah, you guys are amazing. She's amazing. Appreciate y'all support for the trailers. Obviously, we put a lot in our trailers, man, and we want to get you guys stoked on all of our material. So thank you all for the continued support. There, be sure to go grab that. Maybe you want to get it with the RippaZine that is closing out tonight at 11 p.m. as well. So we have options. We have a bunch of books out there that are available for you to buy. So be sure to go check that out. And yeah, we're getting things going. All right. So on the RippaSend side, as you guys know, we have, of course, waiting for Nerdrotic, which is now over 3,600 books sold. It did cross over the $175,000 mark in total sales. So we appreciate y'all, man. Y'all showing love on this final day. And we close out waiting for Nerdrotic from prison to YouTube by, of course, Gary. So yeah, go grab that on the RippaSend side. Remember, that's a different website. I know a lot of people get that confused sometimes, but RippaSend.com is its own website. So be sure to go there. I know TJ's Art says Chloe's Bloodruth, no one else. Yeah, it is really hard to envision someone else voicing her at this point. And because she's so easily accessible, she's always down. She's always like, look, whatever you need from me, she'll make some time. She's busy. You know, her voice has been lended for so many games and what have you. She's very active and other things as well. She's just very, very active. So the fact that she makes time for Bloodruth is absolutely awesome. So thank you so much. So I know folks from FNT are going to start rolling over here. Much love to you. Thank you all for piling on in. If you are coming from the FNT side, we know a lot of our followers are over there or were over there because that's the biggest show in our space. So big shout out to those brothers and big shout out to, of course, Gary, everybody that may not follow us over here at the Rippaverse. Please be sure to subscribe. But we are the ones publishing Waiting for Nerdrotic. So please visit right now if you have not already. I'm sure they were talking about it during the show. Go to RippaSend.com. Start putting that link in the chat if you don't mind. Make it easily accessible. And be sure to go grab both the soft cover and the hard cover, as well as the signed copies. Those are not going to be available after tonight for Waiting for Nerdrotic, and that's Nerdrotic's memoir. He's worked extremely hard on this. It's been a long time coming, so be sure to go grab this. Said from F&T, I'm late and not gay, but Gary is. Yeah, can't control that. That's a thing. That is a thing. But seriously, thank you all so much for hanging out. We're just talking everything RippaSend, talking everything Rippaverse. We have 2 campaigns / collections and or collections that are closing tonight at 11 p.m. Central. That is the one that you're looking at right now, which is Waiting for Nerdrotic. And we, of course, on the Rippaverse side have RippaZine issue number 5. So be sure to go grab that as well. We'd appreciate that so much. It's just $8. You get some previews for some of the other Rippaverse stories if you don't keep up with them as well. And got some all sorts of cool stuff that you can get with this. So yeah. Sakara was busy flirting with Ass for 10 minutes. Ass stopped by. You just
listened. He popped on through.
I'm sure he just left and then stopped by here like immediately. But yes, he just wanted to thank you all that showed support for Saints and Sinners. Be sure to let everybody know, yell it from the mountaintops, scream it, how you felt about it, so we can kind of know what we're going to do, where we're going to take these stories and everything. So yes, thank you for all of that support there. Joey Bag of Donuts says, absolutely love Saints and Sinners, great work team. Well, I'm glad you enjoyed it. I'm so very glad that you enjoyed it. Thank you.
A lot of people worked very hard to put that thing together.
Thank you. Appreciate that. So yes, there's a lot of artists. There's a big time collaborative effort here with this Saints and Sinners being our first anthology. So thank you all for making that, as of right now, the top selling book of the year for the Rippaverse. Jake Stanley with a 2 says RippaZine is dope. It's more than the feature. Yeah, obviously there's other support things, right? Because this is only a short story that's 15 pages, but we put other cool stuff in there, obviously, as you guys know. Yeah, fun pigeon stories that Andrew and Marcos team up on. But we have the previews, of course. We have some in-universe material that's also a part of it. So there's just so much that you can grab from the RippaZines that goes beyond just the short story that's in there, though that's obviously a big part of it and a big selling point. It isn't just that. Like this one's with over 50 pages, so it's plenty of material that you can get from those RippaZines. A fun thing here. So so chat says, I hope Gary writes it. That's in that story. Maybe. You never know. You never know. You never know, man. You never know. But yes, go grab both of these stories. Waiting for Nerdrotic on the Waiting for Nerdrotic stream. Yeah. He might pop in. I don't know if he told y'all that he was coming in, but he might. We obviously told, look, we're the publisher here, so it's our job to do what we're doing right here. And obviously on all the forms, social media and our advertisements, everything. But yeah, no pressure for him to pop in. This is our job. This is what we're supposed to do. We're supposed to be the ones promoting it and letting everybody know what the heck is going on. So go grab this. Remember, RippaSend and Rippaverse, 2 completely different websites. So if you want to grab this, you need to go to RippaSend.com. RippaSend.com is where you want to go, though I think we have a slider maybe on the Rippaverse side.
We did.
Yeah. So you can get right to the page, but RippaSend.com, that's where it's going to route you. So be sure to go grab that. Yeah. All right. So what else we got? And by the way, again, I appreciate y'all hanging out. There is some supers that came in I want to get to.
A couple, yeah.
We have our man's Marco says with a 5 says we need to make a Pigeonverse book compiling all the pigeon stories from the RippaZines. Not against that. Not against that
I'd be
at
up
all.
for that. Probably have to add something maybe a little more long form to make that work. Otherwise, right now it'd just be 5 pages.
Yeah. But we can eventually do it. And we're compiling. We're compiling. Thank you so much, Marcos. Love to see you. He's our concept artist for a lot of your favorite characters. So he's the co-creator of a lot of your favorite characters. Saradather with a 5. The Pharaoh Druid says at work, so can't talk much. What? 1 or 2 RippaSend cheers? Probably send RippaSend cheers. Oh, RippaSend cheers. I see what you did there. It's a pun. And applause to all the writers and artists. Also, Michael's art book, perhaps. I mean, you're technically getting it, aren't you? Like with the black and white, right?
Kind of, yeah.
I mean, I guess no. Well, I guess at least on the other side, it is a little different, right? Because we do commentary. So I guess in perspective,
commentary, and also no lettering.
Right. So I guess, I can see where you're going. What's up, F&T? We got the official raid just now from the F&T crowd. What's up with all of you? A lot of people don't know that Rippaverse has its own channel. So this is the channel. If you guys sit over
welcome.
Here. Yes, welcome. Hello. But Rippaverse does have its own channel. So please subscribe so you can keep up with everything. It's not just me posting on my channel all the time. We really keep a lot of the Rippaverse stuff here. You'll see some cross posting every now and then, but usually it's here. So if you want to stay up to date, you got to subscribe. All the fun content that we do, you got to subscribe here. And shout out to Gary and F&T crew. You missed Az. I know he jumped out of there. He came over here, stopped by for a little bit, said what's up about Saints and Sinners. But obviously, why everybody is here, you need to go to RippaSend.com and pre-order right now because it ends tonight at 11 p.m. Pre-order, waiting for Nerdrotic, which is the official memoir of our man's Gary himself, the man himself. So go grab this.
He's got a hell of a tale to tell you guys.
Yes, he has a massive. Look, everybody knows here what all he's come from, what all he's had to endure. But you really get the ins and outs. You get to the meat of everything in a lot more detail than I'm sure what he goes in on stream. He's a very transparent dude. A big shout out to him for that.
Yeah. Not everybody does that.
Yeah, not everybody.
Most people don't.
Especially with an upbringing like that, to be just kind of front facing like that. It takes courage as well. So again, kudos to him. But go grab this right now. You can pre-order it. We have 2 copies. We have the soft cover as well as a hardcover version of the book. So be sure to grab that. I will say this. So all 1,700 of you, however many here, this signed copy ain't going to be available. You don't want the old man to be killing his hand, right? So that right there ain't going to be available after 11 p.m. So you're going to you need to make sure that you sign it or get the signed copy. And speaking of the man himself, look at this guy.
Yo, what's up?
What's up, man? Like I said, you didn't have to stop by, man.
I always knew this stream was going on. I had totally planned the entire time. Of course I'm going to be here. What up?
What's up, dog? Man, how you doing, man? How was F&T?
F&T was great. It was long and it was really fun. Talked a lot of shit. Roasted Hollywood. Dude, it's like how great do we have it, right? Like you get to make comic books now for a living, and I get to hang out with my friends and just shoot the shit for 4 hours. We are blessed, and it's thanks to you guys.
It is.
Beats a normal 9 to 5, that's for sure.
Yeah, that's for sure, man. No, this is awesome. It's look, I recognize that we're very blessed to be in this position. This is why I'm always thanking the audience out there for making this happen, because it could not happen without them. So, I'm highly appreciative of it. And we get to do cool stuff like this. Like, again, we're everybody's writing books and stuff now. And it's really cool to see this start to, got original content starting to kind of emerge from the folks in our space. And it's awesome. It's awesome to see. And we appreciate y'all. We appreciate y'all for going out there and supporting. As I've said a million times, I don't think people in our sphere realizes how much economic power that they have, right? Like, I mean, it's a lot of you. Number one, we see the numbers. We appreciate you guys giving us views, but you have a lot of power, man. And that's why something like this can blow up the way that it has. That's why something like the Rippaverse stuff can blow up the way that it has, because of you guys, right? That's this abnormal stuff, or used to be abnormal stuff that can happen when you kind of are focused, right? So I appreciate all of y'all for supporting all of our ventures here. Remember, this is already over $175,000, by the way, which is amazing. And this ain't including the shipping and the taxes and stuff. Like, this is just raw I know typically what you see of campaigns, you see a lot of the other fees that are associated with these. On the RippaSend side, we do not do that. That's why we have that asterisk there that tells you exactly that. We don't include any of that. So this is just raw sales. This is a raw sales. That ain't cheap, man. That's a lot of money.
That's a lot of cheddar.
Yeah, that's a lot of bread. So I want to while you're here, Gary, I want you to really talk about. I love for you to talk about kind of your process and finally getting this thing done, right? What made you want to do it, number one, and then obviously, you know, how you feeling about now that it's finally up for pre-order, and then soon enough it'll be in the reader's hands.
It's surreal. So it goes back to before the channel. One of my favorite things is speaker meetings and volunteering for service, especially early days. So I would volunteer for coffee, to be a secretary at an AA or an NA meeting. And I always volunteered to speak whenever somebody couldn't, or I always went when I was asked, and I did it a lot. So this is basically you share your experience, strength, and hope. Usually it's about an hour-long meeting. You share for about a half an hour, hear from people. So sharing my story out, back in the early days, somebody had mentioned, man, you should write a book. And I'm like, well, I mean, I've heard a lot of AA stories, and pretty much every single one could be a fucking great, inspiring, and just engaging book, because there's so many great stories out there. So I thought about it, and we actually, you know, for my friends, we did like a shitty little comic version of it, you know, just to sell to my friends. It's terrible. You'll never see it. But that's what kind of got it rolling in my head. But I never, you know, I'm like, you know, I can't write. So, and I'm not going to sit there and write an entire book. It's too difficult for me. And you know, maybe a graphic novel someday, you know, maybe I'll do that. Cause I can draw. I'm not great, but I can draw. Draw. But you know, then the YouTube thing happened, and it was brought up a lot during YouTube. And I'm like, listen, I don't have time. I got my YouTube channel. That's my focus. This takes all, as you know,
man.
Content creation is not something.
It's an all day thing, man.
Yep. When you get this far into it, it can start out as a great hobby, but when I was starting to edit the way I do edited videos and stuff, it is very time consuming, and I love it, by the way.
Yeah.
But then Chris Gore mentioned, hey, you know, there's this company out there that helps you, basically gives you a ghostwriter. And what you do is you sit down and do this interview process, and then we go over and edit the book. Right. And then, you know, and which was extensive, absolutely extensive. The whole thing took 2 years to put together, and it was like kind of weaving in and out of my YouTube schedule. And we had been approached by other publishers, but like I wanted to do the indie one because I had full say.
Absolutely.
And I mean, it also it helps you. You weren't going to make a lot of money. Like, you don't make a lot of money off of Amazon or anything, but it wasn't really done to do that. It was like, I'm just going to tell my story and complete this book. And the motivation behind it was the same motivation as I shared at an AA, why I shared at an AA. And it's not to glorify like what I've been through. And it's not to glamorize drug abuse, or what we say in the program is telling war stories. It is supposed to like show the person still, the addict who is still suffering, or somebody who's sober, that, you know, we have this human connection, and no matter how bad things get, there is still hope out there, but you have to work for it. You have to really work for it. That's the thing with recovery, and why I found through my experience in rehabs and going to meetings, like the meetings is the one thing that works. It's because you're not paying for it. You're actually going there because, I'll use my statements. I went there because I had hit bottom, and I never wanted to feel that way again. I was sick and tired of being sick and tired. And if it helps other addicts out there find their way out of it, because it's such an epidemic in this country, and especially with the opioid crisis.
Absolutely.
Dude, it's not like, you know, I had 2 bouts of sobriety, right? I'm on my second one, God willing, one day at a time, going on 13 years now, but I had relapsed before. First time through sobriety, there was heroin was still around a little bit, but it was a lot of speed. Second time after the relapse, it was after the opioid epidemic, and we just saw people dropping like flies.
Yeah,
like people.
Yeah.
Where's so and so? He died, and kids.
Yeah.
So it's something that means a lot to me. And getting the word of sobriety out there, and I truly believe AA is the thing that works better than any expensive rehab. So that's the motivation behind it, was just to tell a story of recovery. I'm not saying mine's any better or worse, and hopefully people are entertained by it. They get some laughs at my expense, and maybe if it gets them to a meeting or get somebody they know to a meeting, that would be great. Surviving prison is something like, this might sound weird, but I'm proud I survived it, because I didn't think I would. It was a pretty fucking scary thing, and I was so young when I went into and just had no idea, but surviving that and then turning my life around, and it actually worked on me. Like that was a scary enough place to where I never want to fucking go back there again. And the other added caveat to that is it really made me appreciate liberty and understand what it means, what freedom means, why people went out and died in wars so we can bitch about Star Wars online.
Right.
I took it for granted, right?
Yeah.
Until I had lost it. And it's something I remember every day. And it's also a great grading curve on life, Eric. Like however shitty things get, it's like, at least I'm not in prison.
Yeah.
Which was the worst. And honestly, I would say it was worse when I was homeless and fucking loaded and just feeling like shit, feeling like I was going to die. Actually, that was worse than prison for sure.
Well, look, it's a story that, again, we were just talking about this and how, your transparency on this has been, remarkable. You've talked about this pretty openly, and from what I pick up from what you just said, a lot of that has to do with, obviously, helping others. And if it encourages those to get out there and maybe go get some sort of assistance or just start getting right. I know that was a wake-up call for me. I know I've been very public with even my own story and my own upbringing. You talk about people dropping like flies. That was a wake-up call for me, you know what I mean? And seeing that, you know what I mean, where you get people that either of, or maybe you were even close to in the lifestyle that you were living, they end up dropping, right? And it has a way of just, doing something to you, right? And this is why I think it's so important and it's vital with stories like yours for others to hear them, right? To understand, like, look, man, there are people that have probably traveled a lot further than you have, but it's the direction that you're going. And if them telling you that experience can get you on the right track, that's what this world needs. This world needs, because a lot of people going to any life just with straight up ignorance, right? You can speak to that being, when we're young, you think you're going to live forever, you think you're invincible, and you're not, right? And then things can get really real, really fast, and it can cost you, right? And it's important that people hear those stories, and it's a big shout out to you to want to tell that story, and letting people all in on the ups and the downs, and obviously going from where you were at, which some would consider rock bottom, to where you're at now, right? Which is being able to do all these cool things and create. It's just awesome to see, man. It's nothing short of remarkable, and it's also very, very inspiring. So yeah, it's a great read. Make sure you go grab this over at RippaSend.com as we're looking at it right now. I don't know where we're at as far as the numbers. I'll do a fresh, or rather a refresh there. Closing in almost $180,000 in total sales. So thank you so much. Almost 3,700 books sold. So appreciate y'all all that are going to grab this now as well. Thank you. We appreciate you. So, like, you got the book out. Is there anything else? Not saying necessarily just surrounding like the way that we're going to write a book. We know that we talked about the audio stuff But as far as like other original content, I know I asked this of a lot that people that kind of step in to do that. Is there something that other things that you've been maybe kicking around, maybe either in your head or some other cool things that you maybe want to do, having now put this out?
Definitely. It would have to. I don't know what scale. Like a short story is possible. A short story is absolutely possible. I've actually had one rolling in my head, but since I was a teenager, early teenager, I've had one story kicking around in my head for God, it's going on almost 40 years now. That I've written out, timelined. I've got timelines for it. I've got character. I've got turnarounds. I've got character descriptions, and it's just something I've done for fun, and never thought. And maybe if I'm retired from YouTube someday, I think I've talked to you a little bit about this story, but it's something I would do. Can't do it while I'm doing YouTube, but I'm certainly open to it. But I creatively, I'm completely satisfied with what I do here on YouTube. Now people can argue if YouTube's creative or not, but I would say it is.
Oh, absolutely. It takes creativity. Absolutely.
And working with my editors and stuff, that really does kind of satisfy the creative aspect of my life that you absolutely need. It's so good for your soul to like play an instrument or do something, and you don't have to be big with it. You could be in some dumb garage band like I was, and I was completely fine with that. But if you don't have some creativity in your life, I think you're missing something, right? Not to shame anybody, but like it could be anything. It could be like crocheting or whatever. I think it's really good to have that thing like escapism. It's good to have that thing that, most of you out there are working 9 to 5s, busting your ass. It's good to have that little reward at the end of the day or on the weekend, so I'll tell you the whole story of the story I have kicking around someday. I'll let you know.
I'm all ears, man. But no, it is either way. It's cool to see. I talk about it all the time and seeing folks coming up with original. And look, to your point, how people express themselves creatively. It varies, right? Not all the time is it even going to be in the form of a book. I mean, you brought up like music and stuff like that. I love seeing people in our space like do cool things, right? Like this, whether it be with doing this book or doing some other form of like creative things. I think we got a lot of people that are kind of on our corner of the internet that they may not believe it themselves, but they're very creative. Very creative, and it's very, very cool to see this. So again, I cannot congratulate you enough for the success here. I know you worked extremely hard. Your team worked extremely hard to make this happen, and it's awesome to see this blow up the way that it has. But yeah, I don't know how much you've been tapped in. Obviously, we don't typically talk about everything going on in like the comic book space over here because we're so Rippaverse focused right now. But you being a comic book lifer, how you feeling about the state of the Western comic book industry right now?
It's so sad. I mean, I can't speak for everybody, obviously, but it's unbelievable that my lifelong hobby, like my very first hobby, my first love is comics. I think comics are the perfect medium. Is something that as far as new product coming out, I could give a shit about. I don't miss it. I walked away from it 4 years ago. And, of course I had the shop, but when I didn't have a shop, I was at my local LCS for, every Wednesday in the morning, if I could, or Wednesday night, getting my funny books and reading them over the week. It's just something I did naturally, and it's sad that I have no fucking desire, and so do so many, and it's really sad to see that it just fell to hubris, to greed. What really started it was the Netflixing of comics. They saw a lot of the talent saw a big paycheck, and they started writing everything for a Netflix series, writing for the trade. We all know. We saw the diminishing returns of that, but what really happened was they lost all their talent, and they went hardcore into getting more women involved, and which is great if they know what the fuck they're doing, but they don't. And bringing in DEI hires who just can't fucking write.
Yeah.
And now, like, you look at a comic book cover, and with some exceptions, and there's some, but it's the old guys out there. Most of them look like shit. They're not dynamic anymore. God, I hate the fucking coloring now. It's so bland.
Yeah.
And it too much to talk about like tonight. But I still buy new comics, but it's mostly Titan. Like I get the Conan books and anything Mark Miller does. Anything he does, awesome. I buy, and I'll occasionally pick one up, but I do not pick them up for Marvel and DC. Like
Az praises the Transformers book a lot.
It is good. They were trying to talk me into that one for like a year, and or maybe over a year, and I finally just sat down and read the first 16 issues, and I was like, holy shit. I mean, it's not just a good Transformers book. This is like seminal comic writing in a Transformers book. Kind of what we wanted all our lives,
right?
And I'm kind of more of a Transformers guy than a G.I. Joe, because there used to be Transformers G.I. Joe guys. I was more of a Transformers guy, but dude, it is good. Cannot recommend it enough.
There you go. It is like, look, I think that everybody's kind of starting to accept. I mean, I would argue that me, you, and even like our good friend Az, we were kind of really late on bailing. There was a lot of people in our circle that bailed a long time ago, and we were still like had a pull list until it got to a point to where we're like, we can't do this like this anymore. Like I'm wasting my time, I'm wasting my money, and it just looks very different. And I think what's happened, at least over the last, from what I pick up over the last couple of years, a lot of people that were also late to the party, like some of ourselves, are starting to come to that realization that it's just not going to return, at least not in that form. What's going to happen is likely there's going to be a more decentralized, where people like, you and I have talked about this on stream with a little bit more artesian. Like, I'm okay with that. Some others aren't. I'm sure that some others like, no, there needs to be one company, two companies having most of the market share. I don't care for that. Like, to me, and I'm not saying that just because I'm a fan of, like, I obviously own my own comic book company. That's not what I'm saying. That I think it's just better to have people be able to gravitate towards their taste, right? And that's just the reality of what we're going to be dealing with. I think it's just, there isn't going to be no return to form. It looks different. It's going to continue to go in this direction where, there may even get a point. I mean, I predicted this, and it does seem to be a lot of conversations happening. I don't know if you know, obviously, if you saw what happened with this, what's going on with this John Byrne thing and what he's doing with X-Men. It looks like they're going to start licensing that, and that may end up being the future where they end up, the IP holders end up like actually starting to license their stuff off to other people. I think that will happen far before there's some, like, I don't know, seismic shift, and they start grabbing some of the talent, like the fact that a guy like Chuck Dixon was even available, right? Obviously, we're blessed, we're thankful. But that just kind of shows you the nature of the business and where it's at right now, that a guy that prolific was even around, even available. It shows this how they fundamentally change. And I think this is just going to be the way of the future. And I don't know how it was for you, but when I first canceled my pull list, it was a little weird for like a few weeks. It was like, what do you mean I'm not going up there like every Wednesday? To your point, it was like clockwork. Every morning I was there. And now I'm like, I'll get there when I get there. And when I get there, it's like back issues. I don't have because I didn't have a pull list. And it was a little weird. A couple of weeks went by and I was like, well, this ain't so bad. I'm saving money here and I'm not getting mad. You know what I mean? At what's going on. And obviously from that, at least in my personal life, with what happened, and that kind of helped birth the Rippaverse and kind of channeling that energy there. And it worked for the better, thanks to all the supporters out there. But yeah, man, I'm seeing so many lifers, man, definitely in my personal life that are like, I'm done, bro. What I'm keeping up with, it's from some smaller entities, and I'm okay with that. That's going to satisfy the itch right now. I'm just not going to get it from the big dogs. I'm okay with it. It looks different. It is fundamentally different, but I'm perfectly fine with that. But yeah, I wanted your thoughts on how you were feeling about the industry. What about like comic book media, like in general, like with the movies and television, if that's the thing, or whatever you want to call it, streaming?
Oh, it's winding down.
Mm.
It is definitely winding down. As a matter of fact, I was just having a conversation with a pretty big creator who just saw what happened to Peacemaker and just went, Jesus Christ, really? Is that where we are now?
Yeah.
You know, in the second reboot. And I mean, it sucks to see that, but it's really kind of played out when we're having to go with Avengers Doomsday. It's just going to be a cameo, like just a gimmick fest. It's turned into a gimmick fest. And I've said it before, we can't just make a singular superhero movie and have that superhero be the star of his own series, fighting his villain, fighting some arch villain without 5 other superheroes being in it. You know, and if you can't do that, then it's past maturity. And now you're just throwing it like the Superman movie. It's not a Superman, it's a team movie. It's a team movie. And if you can't make a fucking Blade movie, right? There's one little scene in Marvel Zombies that's good where Blade is he's like Moon Knight Blade, and he's basically he's chopping up a zombie, and it was fucking awesome. And it's like, how can you not give me an hour and a half of that, of him just fucking slicing and dicing vampires? We don't need like we don't need some intricate plot, right? We don't need our expectations subverted. We need Blade killing vampires, and they can't fucking do it. You have Mahershala Ali willing to do it too. Yeah, so you have an A-list actor ready to go, and and so that tells you the shape they're in. And they had to run to Doomsday, and even Spider-Man has to have Punisher and Hulk in it, which is great. I think it would have been better 10 years ago, something to that effect. But Hollywood's going to start moving on, right? Because comic books have lost a generation, going on 2, by the way, going on losing 2 generations. And all those young people are either watching anime or manga, and where Razor's brought this up, where comics or American comics got trapped was superheroes. They got trapped with superheroes. They didn't really push their Western comics or high fantasy comic books. And yes, they exist, but they were never prominent, and they never sold that well. And that way you could keep your older customers when they move past superheroes. Some of the bande dessinée out there is fucking amazing. Not enough of it's translated. But that's the kids went to manga, and you know, it goes through its peaks and valleys with sales, but the valleys are nothing like the American comic book industry right now. We just had Demon Slayer, you know,
that movie is fucking killing it, man.
Fucking killing it. It's gonna pass up Superman.
Which is crazy to even fathom, bro.
Yeah.
That's insane.
So I think that pretty much encapsulates what's going on with superheroes, which makes me sad because I like this. I wanted it to be good, but it's just not.
Yeah, it is harsh, man, and it is something that you know. It's funny how people kind of slap these labels on folks like yourself and I, and again our good friend Az, who has invested, like, quite literally, perhaps by now, hundreds of thousands of dollars sunk into this industry to buy the books and the merchandise that's associated with what we love. And our dissatisfaction has people irate and labeling us as if we're the problem. And it's like, have you seen my background? Have you seen you think we want this stuff to be bad? You think we prefer that be the case, like, or you know, that it goes in a direction that we don't want? Like, you think this is something that we get off on? And it's like, no, we would love for this stuff to be awesome as it was decades before. We would absolutely love that, but unfortunately, we live in a day and age to where it's not. And rather than, I think what the American comic book industry, it almost represents American culture now with the ego, right? Where they never had the know-how to pivot and say, okay, you have to have a little bit of humility about you and obviously self-awareness to be like, you know what, this isn't working. But for them, it was like it was a big shift in that the customers were the ones that were incorrect, and we were all basically, or at least how it felt. I can't speak for everybody, but at least for how it felt for me, it was like I had to live up to the standards of that creator, right? Of that writer, like as if they're blessing me with the story, and I'm not a paying customer. And that attitude almost embodies kind of what you think of like, you know, even in Hollywood, right? It's smug. It's you know, you got your, you know, kind of head up your behind, and you know, people pick up on that. And it got to a point to where, you know, you brought up a great point where it's like you got a full generation that were like, well, we won't get into this. So they put themselves in a very interesting, peculiar position to where the people that they were, well, first of all, who they were trying to appeal to is an audience that doesn't even really exist. The potential buyers and like the younger guys have moved on to something else that is, it's still comic books. It's just coming from the other side of the world. And then they've completely rejected, or rather lost, the guys like of our day and era, which were the older comic book fans. So now what are you left with when you have that? You don't really have much. Right, you may have guys like myself that were still coping, like, there's some solid stuff before I got to a point to where like I can't even make excuses for this anymore, and I'm not gonna expect you to do it. So it sucks to see, but why I'm white pilled is obviously because of things like the Rippaverse were able to exist now, and that was not something that maybe could have happened 10 years ago. You know, so it is, I do appreciate that aspect of it, that we're not the only gig in town. There's going to be guys that and people that are in our corner that have seen some awesome success, and I love that for them. But as far as the dinosaurs are concerned, I think that that's just a reality that we live in today, and that it's pretty much over with. And like I said, it may move to a point, and maybe that's the best case scenario. Will they do eventually find some self-awareness, understand that they can't really facilitate that, and just start licensing it off to people that care?
Maybe
that's the best case scenario.
And they don't care about the continuities anyway, so what the hell does it matter?
Yeah. I mean, just start doing, well, that's a whole other story.
Yeah, we can talk about
start
that
doing
all day
short
long.
Stories and Elseworlds, and I think, I mean, because it's gotten long in the tooth, and quite frankly, Marvel's fucked up their continuity so much, they might as well do a fucking Crisis at this point, which is sacrilege for a Marvel fan to say. But I will say, from the business side of it, and this is just anecdotal, this is just based on the comic stores I've gone to locally, including one huge one, Heroes and Fantasies, which is a great store. It's fucking empty now. So since the Diamond thing, I ran into I ran into a buddy at Comic-Con, and he said the funniest thing. We're like, hey, Diamond, because I said, I can't believe I walked through the Diamond section, right? And it was there, but you couldn't buy anything. So they're still in bankruptcy. And I'm like, Diamond's fucking gone. And he's all, yeah, we got what he wanted. We got what we wanted. Now what? You know, and it's like, I know. And I don't know how stores are dealing with it. It'd be a fucking nightmare. But if there is somebody who can pick up the baton from them, the problem is Diamond propped up comic stores for a long time.
House of Cards. It was a House of Cards.
It was a House of Cards, and they were propped up as well by this direct system. Diamond was the accidental monopoly because nobody wanted to compete with them. There certainly could have been somebody who came in to compete with Diamond, but nobody wanted to because it wasn't really going to be profitable. Plus, we had a handful of store owners who were like a cabal, including but not limited to Brian Hibbs, who had a lot of influence with the publishers and with Diamond, right? And he was a selfish son of a bitch. He just was. He was looking out for number one, and he would tell people that, and they would still go, well, he's doing it for the good of the other comic store. He never gave a fuck, which he was, again, in his defense, was very honest about. And he started Comics Pro, which I was an early member of, and I dipped out almost immediately when they started partnering up with DC. And I'm like, I thought this was going to be just for us retailers. And now we got them in there. It's like, fuck no. And DC was frankly the nicest to retailers, but I don't know how they maneuver through this, especially when one of the distributors is actually a comic store, which really bugs Brian Hibbs. That doesn't bother me, but I asked very early on and was fucking shamed for it and clowned for it. at a retailer summit in San Diego, 20 years ago now. I'm like, why aren't we trying to push to have comics in gas stations and 7-Elevens and grocery stores like they were when we were all kids? That way more kids will see them. They'll be out there. It's not like these things are super expensive, and it's because of the direct market and because shops fought it. They saw it as competition, and they really short-sighted. It's like you could say what you bought about piracy, but when they put those little digital stickers at the bottom, at the back of every comic about 10 or 15 years ago, and it bugged everybody because the stacks would come in uneven because the stickers was making it.
Oh yeah, it was making it stick.
And they were like, people can pirate it. And I'm like, most people pirating are people who can't afford comics or are not in the country and can't get one. So I'd say it's at minimum, it breaks even for Marvel and DC. I think it actually can be a sales tool. I especially at the time. And also Marvel was dumb enough to put out a CD-ROM. I have one behind me. You can't see it, of like Spider-Man 1 through 500 and Fantastic Four 1 through 500. And they're all PDFs that you could just fucking download.
That's
like
crazy.
Rip it right off the disc. That's fucking idiots. They had no idea. But it was that short-sightedness with the retailers. Like they were really against comic books going anywhere else. And it really just, it was a weird form of free market socialism. You had one company controlling everything, and their rep, Dave Hawksworth, who was great, would come out and just try to upsell you on shit, not really listen to your complaints. They didn't care. Dude, when I got there, this was 2003, I opened the store. You had to order your shit from Diamond on a fucking DOS computer.
Damn.
DOS.
Oh,
and this was in 2003. Okay.
Damn.
So, and it took them forever to update. And why? Because they had no competition. They had no incentive to do that. So we had to keep an old computer that nobody could ever fucking turn off so we could order our shit from Diamond. Now they eventually upgraded, and they weren't terrible for an accidental monopoly. A lot of people I worked with there were really nice, and they tried to work with the store, but it wasn't growing the industry. And then this boom happens of comic book movies. And in the very beginning, it kind of worked. It did. The Iron Man movie did increase Iron Man sales. The Captain America movie did increase Captain America sales because they looked like the character. That was the origin. It worked. Right. And then other films like Sin City would come out, and it was like printing money for a while. I couldn't keep those fucking things in stock. So, and that was just a moderately successful movie. So there was a connection there. And then, the studio just broke off from the comic books, and they became an IP holder. And they've lost opportunity after opportunity to expand, to grow their audience, while not alienating the older customers. And they decided to go all in. Marvel in particular. New 52 did this too. New 52,
true.
New fucking 52, and all new, all different were the beginning of the end.
Yeah,
really.
Yeah.
And now you're just in this cycle of just trying to preserve what you have. I know they talked about what the new Batman book sold 500,000 copies to stores, which means they probably had minimum 10 variants. Probably a 1 in 1/500 variant, a 1 in 1,000 variant, and the stores have stacks of those books in the background. The chances probably still sold to a lot of people. I'm guessing 150,000, 200,000 people bought the book. I'm guessing out of that much, maybe half of them read it.
Yeah.
And that's not good. You want your comics to be story driven.
Yeah, you want them to be read. That's the point.
Read. That's the whole fucking point, and not it's a new number one, or it's an Alex Ross variant cover, special. It's like, no, you make it story driven. And I'm not super inspired when I heard Absolute Batman, which I know a lot of people like. If you like it, that's great. But like Scott Snyder coming back to do Batman is not like, that'll get me to the shops. No.
Right. Yeah. Like, man, I would love to talk to you about that, because you brought up the distributors and that being, I did a video, like a detailed video you guys can go check out, talking about like how just the economics of the comic book industry never made since the direct market became the standard, it was illogical, and it was something that was a house of cards that kind of everybody played the game, but it never really made sense. And as with
anything, you're making money in comics video.
Yeah, that was the Making Money in Comics video,
Yeah,
right?
I remember that one. Yeah.
And I was like, I was trying to explain, like, people, like, look, none of this makes sense. And just because it exists does not mean it's actually working. What happens is that there's a benefit of, to your point, one of the distributors being the only gig in town, really that was doing that. And then you have these, like, at least the big publishers with the comic books are attached to these mega corporations. So we are all under this illusion that this stuff is working when it's not. It really never was. Like, in pockets, like, there were certain things, aspects of it that you could see success with, but by and large, as an entity, as a whole, it wasn't working, right? And it was interesting to see how, and I would love for you to speak on this, definitely with you having owned a shop at one point, but the stubbornness, right, of the shops was very, very interesting as that happened over the next several years, where it was like, now it got to a point to where, which I wasn't a fan of for various reasons, where basically the shop owners would not even entertain it if it didn't come from Diamond.
Mm-hmm.
They wouldn't buy it if you weren't part of their catalog. So what it seemed to do is that while there may have been things that were successful or could have been, they weren't really doing their job as, like, owners. In any other industry, you'd be also actively looking at, like, okay, especially in the age of social media, what are people into, right? And just because Diamond doesn't sell it doesn't mean that it isn't out there. What say you about, because one of the things that I know we often feel sorry about these, like, comic shops and their input, but, like, because, you know, we see a lot of them go under and they do get screwed over. But what do you say about the, like, self-inflicted wounds, like I said, with some of those things, and also their general stubbornness to continue to prop up this model that wasn't even working?
Yeah, it really depended on the comic shop owner's taste, obviously. But again, anecdotally, just in San Francisco, I'd say San Francisco comic shops went a little further to get independent books in, because that's just that was their mindset. You got Kitchen Sink Press and you had a bunch of those. So they did the work, but most didn't. And it was being the shop owner, and myself guilty included, being lured into the comfort of just having that previews catalog. And it was very convenient.
Right.
And you know how you can get lured by convenience.
We all suffer sometimes from it. Yeah.
Yep. And the thing about being a comic shop owner is you need to do it because you love it. You're never going to make a lot of money doing it. And there's a lot of trend scouting, and there was people who had the initiative to call my store and bring in and give me an indie book. And listen, most of them weren't great, but I gave them a chance. I always give, like, here's a little spot in the wall, and, like, you could just keep all the money. I don't care. And if I liked it, I pushed it, but there was no, like, real resource out there outside of Diamond. And once you got even in the previews book, Eric, once you got past a certain point, you're like, I ain't got time for this shit.
Right. Yeah.
And it was just a system set up not to grow.
Right.
It just was. And it was really hard. And that's why when Kickstarter came on the scene, that was such a boon at the time. It's like, oh, wow. And some big names got involved with it. Now it's more wide open. And I don't know how you'd be spending your entire fucking day.
Yeah. Trying to keep up with all of the things. Yeah.
And they got to make you money. Right.
That's the most important thing. Yeah.
That's why we saw a return to back issues. And now there's Whatnot out there, and they're streaming on fucking eBay now, and now they're streaming auctions, and these are great. These are, like, really smart things that
you got to adjust.
You got to adjust with that. But getting new stuff in, I don't even know what the answer is now. The answer is go out, do it on your own, and somehow hopefully you get attention, and now you don't need the comic store. Actually, the comic store might limit you. It's good to, be friends with them because they're the place that people still go and gather, but it's not like it was. It's not like,
it's not like where that was the one place you had to go to grab it. Now, it is a little different. And that's one of the big, or, some of them made some big time adjustments. Like, one of the big ones was, again, familiar out for you guys that were familiar if you lived in the Dallas area, Lone Star Comics, right? And what they did was say, yeah, we see where the industry's going. We're going to move to an online platform. And obviously mycomicshop.com is one of the biggest online platforms, but that was birthed out of that used to be a store. That used to be a store, but that was an example of the business owner having the foresight to be like, wait a minute, the industry's changing, right? So I have to do that. I think of that innovation, that entrepreneurship is something that our industry has lacked. And it's not obviously just coming from one place. I've said this about people that do it independently, but this can be also said about like the shop owners and really everybody that's involved. Is like, just because something worked before does not mean that we have to, or that, and again, we're under the illusion that it works. That's kind of what the direct market ended up being, at least for me, it was a system that as I looked more into it, it was like, how were y'all ever making money? And then I find out, wait a minute, they weren't. Like it was like it was a house of cards. It was just bound to fold eventually. Even though I remember when I started Rippaverse, one of the things that people were like you got to go through Diamond. I was like, why? Can someone explain to me? I get what you're saying, but can someone like thoroughly
with an answer that isn't because this is what everybody
else because reasons. Yeah, basically that's what that ends up being, because everybody else is doing. Can you explain to me why that we need to put all of our eggs in that basket? Nobody could ever really explain. It was like, well, this was just what everybody else is doing. And then we find that, and I didn't even predict that. I knew that it was a bad model, but I wouldn't have predicted they would go bankrupt as fast as they had went from that period of time to when I started a Rippaverse to where we're at now. But what sucked was watching all these these mid-tier kind of companies just straight up lose it after that went down, because they had placed all of their eggs there.
Yep.
And then it was like, well, how do we adjust? Well, you can't, because there was no infrastructure that you were building. And to your point, as you were talking about earlier, Gary, it's complacency, it's comfort. And so people were like, well, this will always be how it's going to be. And then it collapsed. And I saw some of these small companies going. There's been reports going out about even like some of the bigger mid-tier guys like the IDWs of the world, and how, everybody's taking this hit from the industry. And they still, yes, there's Lunar and what is the other one? Penguin Random House. Yeah. Sure, those are a thing. But still everybody's adjusting. Everybody's like, what do we do? And I think that's what our industry misses.
And to your point, because of the centralization that was happening there with Diamond, nobody had any designs of decentralizing and not having all their eggs in one basket. And therefore, when the Diamond stuff started to go down, a lot of shops took a major hit, because how are they going to get their books? So how are they going to make their money? Right. And there were a lot of shops that just went out of business.
They just went down,
because there was a period of time where no books were being shipped. Right. And they're just these shops are barely breaking even on a lot of this stuff to begin with, unless they have built up, side businesses within their shops. Like maybe they host D&D stuff. Maybe they, lean heavily into TCGs and stuff like that. And maybe they also carry some really solid collectibles, not just cheap ass pops, that, they have regulars that come in and buy some more high-end stuff. And maybe that carried them through. But the centralization will always ultimately bite you in the butt, because when all your eggs are in one basket, that basket drops, you don't have any eggs.
You're done. And I've seen new release sections shrink in comic stores. Mine was huge for as small as my store was huge, but I always kept back issues around too, because because once each shop kind of reflects the personality of the owner, but once you put a focus into something, you really can make it work. Like if you have gaming there, right? Back, of course, Magic cards back in, I never touched that shit because I didn't know anything about Magic, but I've put my focus in back issues, and that went from 10% of my sales to 45% of my sales.
Damn.
And it just took a ton of work. I also brought in a kids section, a legit kids section, where we gave the kids incentive. We had a couple schools near us. We made the kid, you're not supposed to price fix, but I did. So I made the comics cheaper for kids if they came in. And I had them reading the stuff I was reading. I get Bronze Age reprints. I bought this huge collection of Bronze Age reprints that I could, as a matter of fact, I still had tons of them when I sold the store, and it really worked. getting the kids to read the like X-Men Classic, like all the great reprints for back in the day, Marvel's Greatest Comics, which were the old Fantastic Four comics. If you put that focus in, you could still make it work. Back issues was a huge thing over COVID. That's where things really started turning around. When I saw the first sign that Diamond was in real fucking trouble was when Steve Jeppe went on Brian Hibb's stream. I don't know if you remember this, Eric, because we did talk about it. They I forgot what happened, but this was in 2000. Oh, it was COVID. And he came on Brian Hibb's stream trying to assure him that, hey, we're going to be fine. And he came out and said, Diamond is solvent. We just got a big loan. And I'm like, that's not solvent.
Right.
That's the opposite of solvent.
Right.
That's
right.
bad. And we were, truly worried. And like Marvel and DC did fucking nothing. Did jack shit. When they had time, they had stopped. You have time to circle your wagons, rethink things, maybe work on a big, I hate to say it, but Gail Simone had this idea, and it's a great idea. It's like, do a big Marvel and DC crossover right now. No, Jim Lee decided to do a sketchbook, and Marvel did fuck all. They canceled Snowflake and Safe Space. That was about the smartest thing they did during that era. But they did fuck all about it. And when it came back, they had that one boom year because, well, they had a bunch of government money saved up. And once that government COVID money dried up, all of a sudden shops started closing left and right. And Diamond got in trouble. And it just fell apart at that time because it couldn't handle something like that. It couldn't. And what we have now, I was just bringing up Heroes and Fantasies. That store used to be packed with stuff. Right. And now it's like half full. And that's directly because of Diamond. So what you're missing comic books, but Diamond wasn't really doing Marvel and DC, but they were doing toys, lots of toys and collectibles. And that's where you're seeing the gap now. And dude, there's still comic book fans out there. How many cons do we go to? The cons are packed.
Yeah,
they're absolutely packed.
They're out there.
People want to buy comics. You're just not making stuff people want to buy.
Yeah, they're out there.
No, they're buying older shit. That's what I did, Eric. So when I gave up most new comics, I'm like, well, there's a shit ton of like old DC I haven't read. And you know what? I didn't read a lot of the Savage Sword Conan magazines. And I went out and started finding them at my local comic book store for $2 a piece, which is cheaper than getting them collected in the stupid omnibuses. I'm like, oh, I'll just buy them for $2 a piece. Yeah. And it's been great.
That is awesome. Yeah, that was for a lot of people. I think that when they broke off, they were like, I'll just get back issues. There's not enough material that I could even read anyway. So might as well go get caught up on that stuff. So yeah, it is especially being on this side of it now with Rippaverse, it's been very interesting to kind of see. And I've had the blessing of interacting with a lot of people that have obviously been in the business, between all the cons that we've gone to. And it's been, like I said, being on this side of things and seeing just how comfortable people were with like the general system. It didn't seem like everybody was confident in it, but people were like, this is just how we do things. And I'm like, one of the things that, if you want to know why the Rippaverse worked the way that it did, is because with everything, and I was talking to all of the people behind the scenes, asking questions from people on, didn't care what side of the political spectrum they were at, if I could have access to them and they were part of the industry. I was asking them about this, various things, and it was just crazy to see just how many people were just like, this is just kind of what we're doing. We're just kind of figuring it out. And it was like, I asked the questions, why? That was one of the questions that I was like, okay, I understand that this is what people are doing. Why are they doing it? And oftentimes you couldn't get people to explain it. It was just, this is just what we do.
It's the way it is. I got that a lot too. And like, fucking explain it to me if I'm not understanding something. And there's shit that I didn't understand that they had to explain. I'm like, okay, that's a really fucking good idea. I should shut up.
Right.
But, it just became so consistent for them. And I mean, it's a risky business anyway.
True.
But if you're a comic store, one of my size, and you had like 400 subscribers, which is people with pull lists, 400, man, you're set. You're set. You're gonna pay your Diamond bill, and then you can start expanding a little bit. Like I gave up buying trades. I've never been a fan of trades. Special collectible hardback I'm into, but trades I see them as trash. And I stopped ordering them. I was lucky enough to be next to a school, and I just did a buyback program. And I'll give you like pennies on the dollar for your trades that you bought now that you're leaving school. And dude, I stocked my section.
That is a good idea. Yeah.
Unless I basically went to the top 10, like Watchmen. You always want to have Watchmen, and Watchmen just fucking sold all the fucking time. Like I said, Sin City sold all the time. There's certain ones that just you constantly sell, you want to keep, but everything else, I just bought it back from people and focused more on back issues in a town. And this is where you got to get innovative. In San Francisco, everybody wanted to be like the comic book lounge, which, James Sim does with Isotope, which is great, by the way. It's a great book, great store. And then everybody else wanted to be like, well, we're the underground, edgy San Francisco. I'm like, I'm going to be the family oriented, fucking normal ass superhero comic store. Yeah. I'm not going to carry any, like, I didn't carry any like Avatar Press, like the torture porn shit from Warren Ellis. I didn't carry any porno books or anything like that. Mine was just family friendly, which nobody in San Francisco did at all. And it worked.
Yeah. You gotta find, but that's what, again, that's the type of innovation that I think this industry just really needs. Is exactly that. People that are just far more forward thinking and not just doing things just because everybody else does it or said that that's how it must be done. I do think I sense a lot of like, how do I explain this? Like, look, if you are part of when I say old guard, what I'm specifically meaning is if you are part of like an industry and it was a system that was in place, it's almost like preservation. Mm-hmm. When you're like, I got to keep even if it's a trade, I have to keep this up because I fixed my mind to believe this must happen. And I got churned through this system. And I don't want that to be like a waste of my time, or I have wasted my time. So they are propping up and perpetuating a system, even though it doesn't work, even if it's like not favorable to them. I've seen this with a lot of creators, like creators, you guys have been the most screwed up in this system. Why aren't we challenging the status quo? But a lot of it is just self-preservation because they don't want to believe that, well, maybe it was all a con. Maybe it all was a ruse. Maybe it was, we don't have all the answers. Maybe these people that I trusted with my career were lying to me. And I can understand that can be a little daunting in trying to have to face that reality. And I think that's why this thing kind of went on for so long and as with anything, I think I just brought this up earlier, the more time progresses in doing said thing, the more difficult it is, like a government program, right? Like once it gets implemented and then even if it's bad, but once it's there for 10, 15 years, the more difficult it becomes to remove it, right? Because people will think the sky's going to fall in the event that you want to get rid of it, right? You're going to kill grandmas. You're going to kill the poor and all this other stuff. It's a similar thing.
The roads are going to disappear.
Yeah. Government stop taxing you, gas taxing you. The roads will just blow up and combust. Like, you know what I mean? It's just, that's the approach. And again, the reason why a lot of the Rippaverse success was because of, I just asked why. And if it didn't make sense to me, it's not to say that I was the smartest guy in the room. Like, no, it was just that because other people that I thought were smart just didn't really have the answers, or rather couldn't explain to me why they were doing certain things. So I just didn't do it. I did what would make sense for us. Not to say that everybody in their mama can replicate. No, it's a timing thing. It's a personality thing. It's a culture thing. Like a lot of that we had going for ourselves. And that's why the Rippaverse works the way that it did. But and the way that it has and continues to, but it's I just asked why. Like I asked all those people, you guys know who you are on all sides of the spectrum. Where I was like, not the autistic spectrum. I'm talking about like,
maybe a little bit of that.
Well, yeah, that's true.
I was gonna say, maybe there's some of that too.
It's a little bit of
All-American. So.
Yeah, it's a little bit of that. But I'm talking about like in the social political sense, where I was just like, all right, this is how you did this. Why did you do it that way? And if they couldn't, some were very thorough. Well, this was the bottom line. That was some of the advice that I would adhere to. I would be like, okay, well, let's do a version of this that's more suited for us because it was thoroughly explained to me how they did it, why they did it, and what made it work. Whereas to others, I would ask, why are we doing it that way? And they were like, shh. And then others who I was like, I thought had their shit together, you came to find out that they didn't really know what the fuck's going on. They're kind of winging it too. So it's like, it's a lot of that. And a lot of this worked because I just asked, okay, why?
Yes.
Why?
Yes. They also have entrepreneurial spirit. Like not everybody has that. And like comics they're not fucking, we're in a digital age now. So you're asking people to make paper products in a digital age. And 10 years ago, they thought they were on their way out. Digital comics were coming and they were going to take over. Now most store owners and most comic book collectors went, no fucking way. This is a tangible we need to touch.
Yeah, it's a very tangible medium. Absolutely.
Yeah. So that was never going to fucking work. And it didn't. It didn't work.
Blew up like the whole comicsology, all that stuff. Remember those days where it was like that thing collapsed. Like
digital comics was never the thing that was going to destroy the industry. Having bad comics that nobody wanted to buy was what was going to do it.
That was going to do it. No,
exactly. You put that perfect. It had nothing to do with that, and we saw that that wasn't going to be the reason why this whole thing folded. But
making these things is fucking expensive. It's difficult.
Yeah.
There's deadlines and printing costs go up if deadlines aren't met. There's shipping. I can't tell you how many, like, especially in the later days, like how many books we were getting that were still fucking wet from printing. They would have a little wave in them. And that happened so fucking much towards the end. Because they were rushing things out all the time. So many like X factors involved that it's kind of a miracle it stayed around as long as it did. Just
that's a good point.
Go back to the old days when they were 12 cents and stuff, and they sold in the fucking millions, man. Yeah. And everybody was reading them. I think the only way it survives now, like we still need a Marvel and DC. Like in an ideal world, I want Marvel and DC working. I want them being good and working because that will help the entire industry. I just don't see that happening. I see them half-assing shit and bringing back Scott Snyder to do a Batman book that he's going to stay on for what, a year, maybe 2, and then it just goes back to normal for a little while. It doesn't save shit. What you need is a team of, I know a creator, you've talked to him too, that had a plan for one of the big 2, was willing to give this plan to one of the big 2 and said, I'm going to bring in a team of top tier people and we're going to set out a plan. And it's going to go for years, not just a couple of years.
Yeah.
Like half a decade. They planned. They didn't even want to talk to him.
It's crazy.
Stubbornness. And they probably, like the high up executives, the Zaslavs of the world probably saw it and like, yeah, it's probably good, but what's the return on it? And is it really worth it anymore? Or something we're just kind of an IP farm, IP holder, placeholder right now for us. So we're going to, we're not going to put that much effort.
Right. It sucks, man. But like I said, it's we'll see what happens. But I have my optimism, and I am white pilled.
Well, I mean, it's there. Like we said, there's still a huge desire for comics.
People want to read them. Yeah,
people want to read them. Like it's not like we have fewer Comic Cons now. We have more Comic Cons now than ever, and that's pretty much people getting their shop experience. Like MegaCon was fucking insane.
Man, that was nuts.
It's bigger than Comic-Con.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, nuts this upcoming year.
People still want to buy comics. I still, I think it's just art, like you said, artisanal. I think that's the way to go.
Yeah.
I think it's the way to go for entertainment too.
For sure. Oh yeah, most definitely. Hollywood. We've talked about that before as well. But yes, waiting for Nerdrotic, by the way, over 180,000.
Thank you.
Let's go. Books sold. You guys can go pre-order that. We got the link pinned. We also have it in the description. Of course, we're selling RippaZine, which is written by our own Andrew here with RippaZine issue number 5. You can go grab as well, but please go get both of these. They will be ending in a few hours, less than a few hours now, 11 p.m. Both of these will be closed. Of course, you'll still be able to get some of the other, like obviously the book will still be available. The ones that we're printing, you're still going to be able to get, like waiting for Nerdrotic. It's just like the signed copies. We're not going to have Gary sitting up here for a week signing books. It's not the goal here. So be sure to grab those.
A line.
Yeah, right. So be sure to get those while you can. If you do want a signed copy of this, we have, of course, the hardcover and the soft cover. We have hats, we have shirts, and of course we have several bundles that you can get if you want to save a little money. So go to RippaSend.com to grab this, and Rippaverse.com if you wanted to grab the RippaZine here. Just go get all the stuff from either side. I don't want to hold you. I know you got a lot going, man. Gary, I appreciate you stopping by. But before you end up bouncing and attending to all the things that you got to tend to, you want to sell the people on this, grabbing this book, and maybe again share some other thoughts about Waiting for Nerdrotic.
Waiting for Nerdrotic is the story of a retard, basically a retard. That's me. There you go. No, it's a memoir. It's my life story. Pretty much normal kid, adopted, really normal, good parents. That I can't blame for my fall. And I was born an addict, suffered some abuse in school, not from my parents, but from teachers. That's why I don't like teachers unions. If you ever want to know, you'll find out in that book why I don't like fucking teachers unions. Fuck them. Yeah. And basically, living a really fucking not normal, crazy life through drugs and jail and death, cooking fucking meth under a bridge. And somehow I survived that to come out the other end, to be a family man, to get married, have kids, and live the American dream. As I mentioned in the book, in no other country could I have made it at all. And my expectations were pretty low. When I got out of prison, Eric, I had no skills. So when I was delivering parts, I was completely satisfied with that job. That's where living a life of gratitude. I had adjusted from my childhood dreams and realized, maybe just not being in prison and being a law-abiding citizen and learning how to work and pay my bills can actually be, and it was, a very fulfilling life. And a lot less dangerous, lot less dangerous, but it's basically a journey of, really, it's sad. I made a lot of fucking bad choices that I don't blame on anybody but myself, but through finding like what living life, a spiritual life through gratitude, really turned it around to I'm generally a very happy person today, because of recovery, but also because of all of my failures. I learned mostly from all of my failures, and instead of blaming it on somebody else or acting like a fucking victim, taking responsibility for it was really tough. And I other than hurting people, Eric, I wouldn't change a thing. I wouldn't change a thing. I wouldn't even change my time in prison. I value that because I wouldn't be here today. And hopefully, if you read the story, I want you to be entertained. Most of all, there's definitely some laughs in there, but hopefully you find, I don't know, I didn't set out to be this inspiring person, just to show that, aside from, a couple of examples of things, there are irredeemable things in this world, but if you stay away from those couple of very irredeemable things in this world, there's always an opportunity out there. And with life and sobriety is based, by the way. Yeah, that's the way to go. You save a lot of money. You save a lot of money being sober.
Yeah.
So hopefully you get something out of it.
I think they will. Very inspirational. A lot of our team members have obviously read through it. Jen, Sylvia, I know they're in the chat. They speak so highly of it as well. And look, man, like I said, congratulations to you, man, for all the, obviously you worked extremely hard. We know that you worked extremely hard on this, and that is finally now out, or at least up for pre-order, and it'll be in your hands soon enough, man. I gotta congratulate you, your entire team, and obviously everything you've done is nothing short of inspirational. We've guys. No. We're here just to kind of again send it over the finish line. A lot of work's done by you. So again, be able to be transparent, I think, is important. And it is that in and of itself is very inspiring, right? Because you let people in on like your flaws and mistakes that you've made and all that, and still you landed where you're at with having such a cultural impact. I think is like anybody that sees that can you got to strive for greatness after kind of reading this. So again, big congrats to you. Before you bounce, someone did ask this in the chat. Super chat. Brent says, "Hey Gary, introduce Eric to Eli and get him on Say Hi to Eli on sub. Those two geeking out will be an epic crossover."
Absolutely, fellow Texan.
Oh hell yeah,
there. Yeah. Eli's in my general vicinity.
All right, I like
so
it.
Unsub is a great podcast. Eli is a genuinely good human being who does a lot of good for autism, by the way. Does a lot of good. So yeah, you should go check it. It's Donut Operator. It's the AK guy, Brandon Herrera, who by the way, vote for Brandon Herrera, Texas 23. Give him a vote. Yeah. So yeah, those are great guys.
Thank you, Brent. I appreciate that. I think that is the only one. No, we have Great Ghost with a 5 says, "Hail and shout outs to all. Congrats on your book, Gary." Says just bought a signed copy.
Hey, thank you, Great Ghost.
Let's go. I think this one is coming from it says Gary is signing off of F&T now, which we got. I know there was someone else that said something about you arriving, but I believe that's all the main ones. But hey, appreciate you stopping by. I know you've been streaming all day long. And you know, I appreciate you stopping by, saying what's up to the audience. And again, congrats. We'll close this thing off right 11 p.m. It'll be ending, but man, Gary, I appreciate you stopping by, man.
I appreciate all of you guys at the Rippaverse putting up with my craziness and my crazy schedule. It's good people here, and I'm grateful for all of you. I'm grateful for everybody in chat. Thanks for buying the book, and I hope you it's so weird saying enjoy it. I mean, like, I hope it's satisfying. Does that make sense?
I like it. We'll accept it.
There's something to be said with the fact that you've built this incredibly large platform, and you have the transparency with yourself to tell this story and give it to people and use that huge platform that you have. And maybe there are people in this space that they read the book and, you know, maybe they just don't feel comfortable about, you know, going somewhere, you know, right away to get help if they need it. But maybe reading the book gives them that little push. Right. And I think there's genuine value in that.
Yeah, it's thank you for bringing that up. And like, I talk about some pretty horrible abuse that happened to me as a kid that not everybody would want to talk about. Right. And having to go through that process. And if it helps somebody who's gone through some like a genuine like childhood or even recent trauma, like through any kind of assault, abuse, and like I felt shamed by it, absolutely felt shamed, and wouldn't talk about it at all and let it fester. And then get to a point where you can talk about it. That's really like, that's the reason I relapsed again, because I never fucking dealt with that. Right. So if somebody can learn that it's not shameful to talk about your abuse, it's actually an act of great bravery to reach out and speak about it and try to get help, and then go the further step, which is very difficult. Erica Kirk just talked about, you know, and it's not comparative, believe me, but about forgiveness and forgiving your abuser. That was a long, decades-long process that I had to go through, and it was necessary. I was not going to move forward until I did that, and it was fucking tough. But that doesn't start unless you start talking about it. And I know there's somebody out there right now probably listening who's something very bad has happened and you don't want to talk about it, and nobody blames you. But maybe if it gets somebody to open up about that to a very trusted individual, you do. I'm open about it because I've been talking about it for years. Right. So, and I'm not ashamed of it at all. At all. Like, it's something that happened to me as a kid. I had no fucking control over it whatsoever, but it happened. It was horrible. And that kind of abuse does. And I think it needs to be told, like, how much, you know, the abuser gets their whatever, and then they move on. That's with that kid forever.
Yeah,
absolutely forever. It rewired my brain. I never fucking trusted a teacher again. I never liked school again. It was a waste of fucking time for me because they were all a bunch of monsters to me. And it made me, and you can't blame a kid for feeling that way. but I had to finally work through that. And if somebody gets that, it's okay to talk about it, because in some families, in some places, or maybe just through shame, they don't want to. That would be, I guess, the most rewarding thing. Would working through that trauma and working towards forgiveness, because it really is the only way you can heal.
Yeah. Well, man, like I said, I think a lot of people are going to get a lot from this. So big shout outs to you again. Congratulations. We'll close this thing off right online. Thanks to all the buyers, and big shout out to Gary for stopping by. I'm gonna let him bounce because I know, again, he's had a long day. He's been streaming F&T, and for him to come right over here, man, we appreciate you, brother.
Appreciate you guys. Thank you for having me on. Thank you, chat. Thanks to everyone who bought the book. Again, really appreciate it. And have a good weekend.
Already, man. See you later, bro. Be easy.
Brother. Take care, guys. Bye.
Shout out to Gary, man. Much love to that brother, man. And again, if you have not got it yet, go get Waiting for Nerdrotic as it closes in on, we'll see, 250 away about from 4,000 books sold. Can we get 4,000 books sold? We will see. Go grab both copies of the book. We'd greatly appreciate that, and we appreciate all of y'all's support for everything that we got going on. I'm going to fly through some of these super chats really quick, but before we do that, be sure to also go grab the RippaZine. It is the final day to get the RippaZine issue number 5, which is almost at 65,000 total books sold. You can get it for just $8 or free with your membership, written by our own Andrew Rodriguez, who's here with me today, and by Edu Salza. We got Andrew Kramer on the colors as well. That's everything that we have up for sale that you can go grab. Got both versions of the book as well as the poster and the shirt. So be sure to grab this. And again, a big congrats to Andrew for jumping in here with it being his first book and seeing the success that he has. It's absolutely amazing, in the words of our good friend Jay. So big shout out to you, man. All right. Let me get to some of these super chats. Let me see. Where was the last one? Andrew, I'm still giggling, impressed, and a bit salty about your sleight of hand when I asked if you were going to write something. Yeah, man. It's always gotta okie doke him. Gotta send him with the okie doke. We got Jake says more catch and kill. Okay, got some catch and kill love. I love to see that. I think I got no, I don't think I got this one. Basil said ironic. It is the name of the book, and we are doing that right now, talking about.
Oh, we were waiting for Gary to get in here.
Yeah. So I ordered a signed copy. That is absolutely awesome. Says new Eliana Blue says with a 10 says New 52's opening gambit was literally to destroy the legacy of the original Crisis on Infinite Earth's story and character wise. Yeah. It was clearly they wanted to go in a different directions, especially thinking that this stuff was going to kind of get this new audience. And for a lot of people, it just never happened. Or a lot of publishers. Says, hail and shout outs to all. Congrats on your book, Gary. Just bought a signed copy, says Great Ghost with a 5. We have appreciate you paying. It's a troll. Says, hi, Eric. Since all of your comics sales are plummeting issue after issue, which other huge YouTuber are you going to beg to make a trinket to pay your staff? Well, we are having currently our most successful year to date, so you'll be probably disappointed in that news, but it sounds like you got some ideas. So yeah, if you got some YouTubers that may want to work with RippaSend, have them hit us up if that's something that they're interested in. Luke with a 5 says, I got a quote that 1,000 copies of my comic would only cost 1.9K. The most and 1.69K at the very least. I guess this is continuing on because I remember, Luke, you asked with the stream with myself and Irene. Says that $5 pre-order it'll only take 400 to cover. But again, you got other fees that you have to consider there. So don't bake it all in like just okay. If I do this, that's all that it takes. I'm not saying outprice your customer. You don't want to do that, but don't just consider how much it's going to cost to print it. You have to consider some of the other costs as well that you need to bake in, including like supplies and other things as well. So that's
storage,
all the storage. That's a big one. Even your labor and if you're going to be the one doing it, so like shipping and stuff yourself. So be sure to make sure you consider all of that. Don't consider just how much it costs to too. There's a bunch of others, endless amount of
Consider
fees.
the cost of the shipping materials you're going to ship your books to your customers in.
Boxes.
If you want to give them something that's going to make sure the book doesn't get destroyed on the
Right.
way.
A lot of costs that are associated with sending out a comic that goes beyond just how much it costs to like manufacture it. All right, we got Brent also becoming a new member. Appreciate all the news guys that came over here subscribing to the Rippaverse. Like I said, a lot of people don't know this channel exists. They think just my channel is kind of where the hub of all things Rippaverse, and it's not. The Rippaverse, everything Rippaverse and RippaSend, we have it here. So appreciate all the new subscribers that have joined in. We have Nathan with a 5. So I think a lot of comic store owners are not business people. I can see that. So a lot of people who go into entertainment industry are just trying to avoid work. Well, yeah, I could see that. Like, yeah, no, you're right. I mean, having liking something and enjoying something and as a hobby is much different from being able to operate in the business especially as an owner, like as the head honcho. That's a completely different thing. So yeah, it happens. I don't think it's just anything just unique to that. I think that happens in a lot of entertainment fields where you'll get people that enter it that may not be they're not really real good businessmen. And we talked about this. We had a great conversation. If you want to go to my channel with Irene, who is the artist of this poster that's behind me there. I'm also the artist writer of the Fiendish series. And we talked about how it's just even a different part of your brain that's firing off when you are when you're doing business versus the creative stuff, right? So yeah. Appreciate that. Much love to you. Buster with a 25 said, I walked 6 miles at MegaCon, didn't see Rippa, but I saw Mel Gibson. Go figure. Listening to you two talk shop is amazing. Yeah, man. Go watch those. I think there's like 2 or 3 episodes with myself and Gary for Canon's sake, and each one of those were it's just 2 old guys shooting the shit, you know what I mean? On this is an industry that we both love, and it's always been cool and awesome to talk to. Obviously, For Canon's Sake is returning next week, and we'll probably get back to having Gary on at some point. But yes, I was there at MegaCon. I was there at Mega. It's a big place. There was a lot going on, but I was there, and I will be there, right, Andrew, this upcoming year. In February, I believe it is.
Yeah, it's actually March this year.
It's March this year. Okay,
this coming year.
March. Okay, March this upcoming year. We'll see you there. We have Jackson with a 5. No message. Appreciate that. We also have Zylander with a SEK 100 says, I'm looking forward to reading my copy of Saints and Sinners on Monday. Let's go. By the way, Gary, Seraphim are 6-winged heavenly beings of the highest angelic order. And Chrissy looked angelic during your stream. I didn't see this. Otherwise, I would have read it while he was on stream. I tried to get all the ones that we got when he was still on stream, but I didn't get to that one. So sorry about that. We got much love to you, by the way, Zylander. We got Jackson, and we have Monster Versal again with the 5-year-old said, what advice will both of you give to people looking into writing and finding artists for their first comics? Here's to more Blue Shift and beyond. Well, man, I could give you advice all day long, but it's specifically about what you're asking about, the latter point of like finding artists. Look, there's a lot of avenues out there now. Social media is crazy where people are posting their artwork, and there's a lot of guys that draw at the professional level, but are amateurs from like, as far as like they don't work professionally. So
but the quality of work,
is just insane. Like going to find artists that you can connect with is easier than what it ever has been with the rise of social media. I mean, you can just go to Instagram and you'll see people posting their work, talking about how their commissions are open right now. So that's the easy. Right. Oh yeah, ArtStation's a big, DeviantArt. There's a bunch of spots where people are just posting their work on all the time. So yeah, finding that part is going to be the easiest. Hell, even go to some of the Rippaverse fan art contests. And you'll see some guys that have done some sequential work and are really, really good. They're really, really good. So go check that out and try to link with them. But there's a lot of talent out there for that can draw your book. I don't know if you had some perspective that you wanted to add to that.
So
Andrew? Yep.
Not as much with the artists, but on the writing side, at the risk of having imposter syndrome, since I'm a brand new writer myself,
Yeah.
I would say two things. Do a lot of short stories. A lot of short stories, because that's going to teach you, especially if you're looking into comic books specifically, that's going to teach you pacing. That's going to teach you panel and page real estate. And that's going to teach you to learn how to make the most of a very limited amount of space to work with. And that's how you're going to hone your writing skills a lot, I think. And then the other thing I would say is find somebody around you eh, who can be objective when they're reading what you're writing, so they can challenge you to improve.
Absolutely.
Not somebody who's just going to say, this is trash, you're trash. Somebody that's going to tell you this could be better. Maybe here's some things you could attempt to do in order to make it better.
Right.
And they'll actually help you do that. Carol was very instrumental for me in helping me improve, I think, in a very short period of time as a writer, because she kept challenging me. She was like, this is a cool idea. Refine it a little bit more here and over here, and then try this. And so, like, those are two things you absolutely need to do. You need to practice. You're not going to get better at writing if you don't write more. And then you need somebody who is effectively an editor or a proofreader who can challenge you to improve each time you do something.
Yep, that's what it's about. That's what it's about. This great tips there, by the way. That Andrew guy seems legit, says the room of requirement. What a 5. He's good, man. He's good. That's why we keep him around, man. He's awesome. Litton with a 25 with a 10 says, as I got my Saints Centers yesterday and it came packaged amazingly. And when I opened it in front of my wife, she said, what the fuck? I've never seen you read a comic. I love that. And I said, things change. Hey, man, first time, all good with me. All good with me, man. And that's a great book because you get all these short stories to kind of dive in to the Rippaverse with. So appreciate that. Appreciate that love. Much love to everybody. Much love to the new subscribers. Much love to everybody that's super chatting. Much love to all of the people that have bought both the RippaZine as well as waiting for Nerdrotic, which you can get right now, which again is almost at 3,800 books sold. So thank you all so much for that support. We also have, of course, the RippaZine written by our own Andrew Rodriguez. Please go grab this. Close to 65,000 total books sold. Take a look at that. Thank you so much for everybody that has pre-ordered this. Reserve your copy right now. Both of these collections are going to end in just under 2.5 hours, over 2.5 hours. So go grab this while you can, and don't be messaging either myself or Andrew saying, "Do you guys still got some of those covers that I missed out on?" No, we don't. We don't.
I don't want to see any DMs at 11:05, man. Hey, man, can you hook it up? Hey, man, you had 45 days.
Yeah, exactly. You had an opportunity and you blew it. So make sure you grab yours right now. Andrew, man, I appreciate you, man, joining me. Congratulations to you with everything that the success that you're seeing for RippaZine issue number 5, and obviously all the work that you do here for us at the Rippaverse, man. You're so valuable, man. And like I said, really excited for people to read your story. And I think a lot of people are gonna love this. I think they're gonna love Zephyr, man. I think they're gonna love the story and the clever twist and such. I think people are gonna get a lot of enjoyment out of, man. But appreciate you joining me today, bro.
Thank you, boss. I appreciate it. Thanks for having me on and taking the time and giving me the opportunity. And fans, everybody in the chat, whether you purchase the book pack, the I Want It All pack, just the collector's cover, just the standard cover, or heck, if you're a Rippaverse member and you just redeemed your free copy of the standard cover, sincerely, thank you. I appreciate you, your hype and your enthusiasm for this character and for this short story has been incredibly humbling and encouraging. I hope you feel the same way after you read it.
Let's go. I love it. Thank you so much. Appreciate that. All right, guys, it's been 2.5 hours. We're gonna take the conversation over to social media, and we'll be talking everything RippaZine as well as waiting for Nerdrotic. Both of those are closing at 11 p.m. Central. So thank you all so much for your support. We got to get out of here. Next week, got a whole host of streams that'll be happening because For Can't Sake is returning. But on the Rippaverse side, we have a Definitive Yaira next week. That closes, right? I believe.
Sure. Next Friday, yeah.
Yeah, so we'll probably close that out next Friday as well. Thank you all. We appreciate you so much. Go grab RippaZine issue number 5, and of course, go grab Waiting for Nerdrotic on the RippaSend side. We will see you all later. Stay blessed, and y'all, boys and gals, be easy. Peace out.